All right, all right, all right. Welcome everybody to the Drunk Tank episode 8. I don't remember what the hell we called this thing, but I am Dox Ryan. That is the crazy drunken Scotsman as I damn near choked to death. Chris, say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
I'm all right. How was your week?
Week has actually been so busy. Like,
Your Twitter was crazy.
so fucking busy. Like, wait, I managed to get three night jobs of delivering COVID samples,
Oh,
like
nice.
200 miles away. So I was literally, it was like 8 p.m. I was picking up the COVID samples and driving 3 hours down south to deliver
Wow.
them to a research facility. Then I had to drive back, so it was like 2 in the morning before I was coming back, and I had to do that 3 nights. And then I done on Friday. I drove from Glasgow a town called Prestwick in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
and then came back to Glasgow to drive straight down to a little village or town outside London.
Oh, yeah?
And then I had to go into Heathrow Airport to deliver something, which was a whole. I was only having to go to the cargo area, but if I got a fucking story for you, it was a parcel that was going to Russia. So it was obviously going to Heathrow to get sent across to Russia.
Right.
And it was from the Prestwick Aeronautics, like basically the ones that fix or make airplanes and fix and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it was just an item that was going out there. When I got to Heathrow, it was going into the Russian, like, airlines centre.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also where the like say embassy and stuff like that.
Oh, no.
So technically, it's technically like Russian sovereign soil.
Right.
So as soon as I walked in, somebody that can only be described as Igor with a massive submachine gun kind of leads you through to a reception area where you have to hand over your passport, driver's license,
wow.
all your details. They security clear you, they vet you and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You then had to go and sit in a waiting room where another two armed security were sitting in there just waiting with you.
Yuri and Sergey.
And then you got put into another warehouse where the guy took the parcel, signed some things for you, then you went on your merry way. And I managed to get down to London and back in the same day. And then on the Saturday night, I then had to go back down and do the COVID sample run again.
Mm-hmm.
So my week has been, I think, overall, from Tuesday to this coming Tuesday, I'd have travelled 3,500 miles.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And I think I've done something like 47, 48 hours worth of driving. It's been an absolute brutal week. Like, I was waking up, like, today I couldn't get out it was about maybe 1 p.m. before I could go out of my bed. My back was just in two. See, just sitting in that position.
Yeah.
Constant for like 4 days. That's what it was, and it was just like I was struggling to even get out of my bed and walk. Right. It was just, I mean, no, it wasn't a hard week as in like I hated it. It was a bad week. It was one of the weeks where you go, I fucking done something. I worked this week and I deserve a day off.
Yeah, you got your paycheck for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So it's actually been a really, really good week. Like work-wise especially. Like we made bank this week. We brought in a second driver that just sort of hit the ground running. We were able to get extra work for him. So we managed to exceed our monetary what we thought we would make against it. So it was a fantastic week for us this week. Yeah, I don't think the same can be said about yourself. But
oh yeah, this week, well, work especially has been kind of like rough. Like the place I work at, which I can't name for professional reasons, they lost like a ton of supervisors at the company, not the security department. The security department lost officers again. So the next 2 weeks, I'm doing back-to-back double doubles. which is I'm doing 17, coming home sleeping for 2, getting up doing 17, coming home sleeping for 2, and then getting up and doing 9, and then finally getting the night off on Wednesday. So, and then Thursday, Friday is my usual schedule. So yeah, that's gonna be the next 2 weeks. It's fucking brutal because the company doesn't want to hire people, and nobody wants to work for $11 an hour at my site because we do a ton of shit, we eat a lot of shit, and it's not worth $11. So I totally understand it, but at some point, it's like I'm gonna look at my company and go, no, it's not my job to work doubles. It's your job to give me a staff so that I can staff and run your site. It's not my job to cover every mistake you make. So on the work side, it's been horrendous, but home has been good. The kids have been really good. They're on spring break. My oldest daughter had some announcements that I don't want to discuss here, but we're making adjustments. Nothing bad. Like, it's all good stuff, but it's like personal stuff for her. So we're all adjusting to that situation, which I'm happy about. So she's had a good week. My oldest son turned 19 like yesterday. He's gonna be coming down. He's gonna be coming down next week for a visit, and then we're gonna do family dinner, and then he's gonna go spend time with his biological mom, and then go back up, and then we're in like the 75-day countdown to the move. So things are starting to Yeah, things are starting to pick up, and then my return to streaming was good, and the 2 streams that we did about 11 hours, and we've had a total of like 100 people stop by. 100 live views in 2 streams, so it's been good. Like, I'll admit I'm kind of struggling with like the personally made responsibility of the new rig. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You got the new rig, let's go. Make it worth their time. So I'm adjusting to that, but like this week's gonna be rough because normally I stream Monday and Tuesday. I'm not gonna be able to stream Monday and Tuesday. I'm probably gonna have to take Wednesday, Thursday off to recover. So I'm probably gonna be streaming Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then after the double week pans out, I'll probably go back to my usual schedule of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is while you're at work tomorrow, I'll be online and you can come and enjoy the situation that's going to be tomorrow night. So
yeah, as long as we're not slammed, I'm definitely going to be there because I get a good Wi-Fi signal and I got unlimited data, so I'm definitely going to pop by.
Well, the good thing is it'll be a bit longer. So, like tonight, I'm only going to go for a couple of hours, but tomorrow I'll extend that a little bit for the US people to maybe come along.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I was looking forward to the podcast today. I know we had to kind of like last minute rejigger shit, but it's worth it to kind of like move stuff around because we're doing really good and we're getting amazing feedback. So thank you to everybody who's giving us feedback and commented on Chris's YouTube and reached out to us on Twitter. We really appreciate it.
It's been amazing.
You and I have made a discussion that next week we'll be going back live so that we have, speaking of which, we'll be going back live. We'll be having our first guest, UKZ Monster. He's a streamer over in England with you. But today I had 3 people actually message me and be like, dog, I've been waiting for the podcast to be live so we can talk about it. So there is that. People are antsy to get back to the live show. So I'm excited for that. There's a lot of good shit on the horizon. I'm excited. You've been doing well. You've been killing it. Your first stream was live, dude. I love the hell out of that. That was lit.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still didn't understand the numbers and that, but apparently it went good. Apparently it was a good, solid first stream. So.
Yeah, for your first stream and like not having all the bells and whistles, just running off a PS5, your numbers were great.
No, exactly.
Your numbers were
especially when the fact that the hype for it was literally 2 messages in 2 different Discords.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I was definitely happy with it. I'm going to be doing it again tonight with a new game, and I've got my mate from here. He said that he's setting an alarm to be able to be up for it because obviously it'll be like the back of midnight here, so he'll be in his bed sleeping for work. So he's going to come along, and it was really, really fun. It's still not going to be what I'm going to be doing.
Right.
Like it's still not a major interest. It's just more
just fun.
Let's just have a laugh with friends and watch a drunk Scottish guy get scared with a game. Like even my mum was kind of thyming that, because obviously the way the house is, my mum's room is kind of like through the wall.
Yeah.
And because I use headphones, she can't hear anything but me screaming. So it's just a constant, like, it'll just be wee moments with me getting a jump scare. And she said that she was just killing herself constantly all night. So I've let her know about tonight and tomorrow, so she's
That's great.
Ready and waiting for
awesome.
our enjoyment.
Yeah, dude, that was great. I was like, you were killing it, dude. There's something, and you were talking about it. There's something in the way that when you react, your accent makes it like really funny, because a lot of people over here aren't used to hearing a Scottish guy go, "Ah, I shot myself," you know. It's like, so I think the nature of you being you, and you just being naturally like reactive and outbursty, I think it really works. And you're just, like you said, you're not like, it's not a professional thing for you. It's just bullshit. Hang out with your friends and be scared. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it is to me.
So. That's good, man. That was great. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm not looking forward to work the next 2 weeks, but I'm looking forward to streaming more and really working on the podcast. We were talking off screen about how we got some ideas for like branding and some logo ideas that we're going to be working on. So I'm looking forward to how the listeners and the viewers on the podcast go for that. So I think we're moving in the right direction, like as a brand, and you and I seem to get better each week. Our chemistry is just getting better and better. So I'm really looking forward to that. But what are you drinking tonight, bud?
Well, I'm drinking. I've went a little. When I say basic, I don't mean Budweiser basic.
Right.
Like, it's still a thing. But I found this is while I was down south. It was one of the ones I picked up last week, and is from a brewery called Skinner's Brewery down in where is it? Truro.
Okay.
But it's a Brazen Cornish bitter called Betty Stogs, which is quite a nice little.
Oh, nice label.
It looks like a lively lady.
Yeah, right?
And that's what it says. It says, in Cornish folklore, Betty Stogs was reputedly full-bodied, golden-hearted, and just a little fruity. So, and to be honest, it's actually, again, it has that kind of, it's just a craft beer kind of thing.
Right.
But you can get the smell of the fruitiness, like, see that in a lot of beers when you go, you can get the hops and stuff. This one, as soon as you put it to your mouth, the smell of the fruit just sort of lingers in the air, as if you like. The only way to describe it is as if your nose is being kissed by 100 strawberries.
Wow, you are so fucking. I can't even. You're so. What's the word? What? Oh yeah, well, descriptive. But I was trying to put an American spin on it. If you've ever watched Blazing Saddles, it's a movie made in the 60s and 70s by Mel Brooks. And the one henchman's like, "Gosh, Mr. Lamar, your mouth is prettier than a $2 whore." When you said that, I was like, that scene popped into my head.
Well, I mean, you don't know who Betty Stoggs was, but yeah, no, it's got a nice fruity kind of subtleness to it, but it does. You can tell it's a bitter. It has got that bitter hits you at the back of the tongue kind of thing,
right?
But it's not it isn't an off-putting,
right?
It's just that kind of. It just seems to hit you a different way, like from a normal kind of ale,
right?
But no, it's actually quite an enjoyable. It hits around the kind of, like, I got this for it was like 4 bottles for £6.
That's not bad.
I've got the links to the thing, which will be in all the descriptions to the actual brewery and stuff. So you're talking, I think on its own it was around the £2 mark, which seems to be the kind of average for beers in the UK. But it's a definite one that I would say give it a go if you can find it. If you can get it delivered to wherever you are, give it a go, because it just has. I mean, I love the label. The label is
that
it's
label works good.
It's a bottle that will definitely be going into my, like, it's, I think I've got a collection up there. It just like cans and bottles that have nice logos and labels on it that I just keep as little keepsakes of times where I was happy.
My happiness is shelf.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it is. It's just a shelf of happiness where you can look up and go, "Oh, remember the days when I wasn't miserable."
All right.
So it's a nice beer, and I would highly recommend. It's not the best one I've had, but I mean, I tweeted out about it. That's a new level of this kind of beer. Is that I tweeted the actual brewery and said, "You've got a winner." So
did you do that today? I haven't been on Twitter much, so.
Yeah, no, I tweeted it out maybe 30 minutes ago before we started recording, because obviously we try it. So
yeah, I'll have to retweet that after the show.
But yeah, no, it's a nice beer.
Nice.
What about yourself? What are you drinking?
I saw this because I was attracted to the label. It's called Shiner's Strawberry Blonde from Poteet, Texas. Yeah.
Strawberry blonde, so it's ginger.
Yeah, but they didn't want to say ginger because nobody would drink it if it was a ginger. But they got this flowery spiel on the back about how it's like farm to table poteet strawberries, and I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, really? Could you get any more country in the way they wrote this? It's like, it says Strawberry Blonde is backed by popular demand. Summer brewed with the best of what Shiner, Texas has to offer. Strawberries from Poteet. I'm like, oh God, can you be any more Texas?
Wow.
Can you be any more Texas? And,
that's something.
I've been sipping on it. It's not bad. Like, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like yours. It's got that strawberry scent in the beginning, and it's got the hops in the back, but it's not as strong as I thought it was gonna be. It's very like, it's not boring like Outboard was. God, I'm bagging on Outboard again.
I know. It's just your go-to thing. I date with the English, you date with Outboard.
Outboard's a good beer. It's just boring as shit. But it's not boring, and it's not like it doesn't hit you with like strawberry or hops. It's just sort of like, it's sort of smooth and mellow throughout, which is nice. It's just a nice drinking, like, seasonal strawberry Poteet, Texas beer. Barbecues and strawberries. Let's go, son. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one doesn't quite have that. I mean, this one, it technically does say that it's grapefruit, but I definitely get a sort of a berry flavour as opposed to a grapefruit. But yeah, I mean, it does say that you have to eat it or drink it with stews, hard cheeses, and meat-packed pasties. So
speaking my language there.
So it's definitely, I could see that. I could see having a stew. Like, do you know what would actually be quite nice is making a stew and using this as the sort of stock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, see, doing that kind of thing like that. I think that would be nice. Like a good, like, a steak nail pie.
Yeah.
Like, I think, do you know what? I think I've got my dinner for next week sorted. I think that's what we've discovered that I'm having next week.
Yeah, mine 6-pack about $8-9 is where my price point usually is. I'm one of those guys. I'm like, I'm not paying $5 for no pack of beer, but I'll pay a tenner on that bitch. But yeah, it's good. I don't mind it. Like, it's definitely a summer beer for sure. I mean, even like, I know like it won't show up on camera well, but the labeling is like really cool. It's got a sort of that old English. It's got sort of that old English lettering vibe to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's good. I like it. As always, as Chris and I say, if you're gonna join us for a drink, make sure you are of age to do so in your region, and do not drink and drive. And please drink responsibly. That keeps the lawyers at bay. So other than that, man, it's good shit. So we're gonna bounce. We got a big main topic today because to be honest, I was struggling. I'm like, I got nothing. And then you were like, let's talk about this. And I'm like, yes. So,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't get a chance to view the podcast, we are talking about foodie bullshit. We're talking about food. We're talking about everything about food. We're talking about recipes and what we like to do. And we're going to talk about like our thoughts on like farming and hunting and shit like that. We're just going to have a big old food discussion. And then we'll wrap it up with the happy ending because there's some pretty cool articles this week for, I mean, we always have really cool articles for happy ending, but you know what I noticed about the happy ending? I am kind of a tree hugger. Like most of my happy endings are like nature or environment based, and I'm like, save the nature in all my happy endings.
I think that's what, because I kind of got that with looking at the document. I was at, this is another like let's better the world environmentally from you, and then I looked at mine and I was at, I've just went with another let's feel good about ourselves and look at the amazingness of our life, which is exactly what we want to be doing. It's like that's the point of it. Is Hell's Phoenix or Nikki DeCaster kind of put it that
Shout
way
out
in a
to our
comment
girl
on YouTube again. Is it's a way of reminding people that the world isn't all shit. Like there is great things that are happening around you. You just have to dig that little bit because nobody remembers good. You only remember bad. Badness sells. So if we can bring that little moment of happiness to your day, and we're doing what we want to do, we're doing our job.
Yeah, exactly. And like the whole, like I noticed that too in the happy endings. Like half of my happy endings are like animals or nature, and you look at me like I'm tattooed and gray bearded, long haired, and I'm like I don't look like your typical like tree hugger, like environmentalist. But like, dude, I grew up a big portion of my life in northern Michigan in the woods, hunting deer, fishing, riding around on four wheelers in the tall trees, you know, running from bears and cougars and shit. So like the environment to me is something really, really like important. And like when I see cool articles, I gotta highlight it because I love animals and I love nature in general. And then like I noticed like I'm two things in a happy ending. Nature and science. Like nature and science are like my two like, yes, let's go. I'm like the nature scientist nerd kid who's like comic books are dope too. So yeah. But for those of you that are listening, we're talking about foodie bullshit because Chris, your food history. Why don't you let them in on a little bit of what your foodiness is about? Because you got a history.
My foodiness is that I am a trained professional chef. Like I lived and studied catering for. God, I hate when I do this because I start thinking back to when I started and that, and then I go, fuck, that was a long time ago. Fuck, I'm old. Oh, that is depressing. Imagine I'm just an old man now. Like I hate going down memory lane, but I started doing studying cooking like as a college kind of thing when I was 14. Because we in our education system, we go into like the high school, secondary school, as we think it, when you're about 12, and then you can go into college and university when you're around 16, unless you want to continue in and get like further education within like high school. You can do like the 6-year thing, but there's a program within a lot of high schools called a vocational program where one day a week you go and do a class at college and get like a college level kind of thing. So when I was 14, I started doing a college course like one day a week from high school in catering, and it just, my passion for it just went from there. And the sad thing about it is I'd done 10, 12 years studying, getting qualifications, getting like bachelor's degree in food technology. Like I went fucking high kind of thing. And then when I finally went to go and get my first job in a restaurant, they went, we can't take you because yes, you've got all these qualifications, but you have zero experience working in a public setting.
Oh, I hate that.
And as soon as that happened, my passion and motivation for the work just went south, and that's where I started kind of thinking about different jobs, working in warehouses, working in offices, and then I finally found the delivery driver kind of logistic thing, which I've been in for the last 12 years myself.
Right.
So the food became it's a my thing. It's a I'll share it with my family, I'll share it with my friends. It's those people that get to have it. Because like I had my own, like I had a catering business, I had a cake baking business. I used to like I do a lot, or I used to do a lot of like cake designs, like see like your Ace of Cakes and all that kind of stuff, like the professionally made ones. I used to do all that kind of stuff, but just sort of fell away from it on a professional level.
Right.
So now it's just all private, all about fun. If in a Saturday or a Sunday, like the last couple of Sundays, I've just went, I'm going to make a big roast dinner.
Yeah.
Like, and I make far too much food. Like, I'm making big, massive 4-kilogram joints, and I'm like, there's 3 people in this house. Like, like it's food for days, and I would not change it. I would not change it.
So you made a comment in there that I wanted to make a comment on before we dive into my foodie history. Doesn't it suck that you go through all that training, you have this passion, and someone goes, "You got the skills, but we can't use you because you ain't got no experience." How the fuck are you going to get experience?
I think that's like at the time it kind of hit that little bit. It hit in the soul because it was a case of I was going to college 5 days a week. I was there 9 hours a day. I was slogging it out. I was doing the dishwashing. I was doing this. I was doing that. You were learning everything, like because you learn in the course that I was doing. You learned everything. Like you learned the management side. You learned the theory side. Like you would design menus. You would experiment food recipes. Make and create. But then you would also go on to the side of like I have my silver service certificates.
Nice.
That means I can go and work in like as a maitre d' and a waiter and stuff like that in top restaurants. I've got my restaurant management. I've got hotel management certificates and that because what they done is you would learn the whole industry.
So like
as opposed to one section. Yeah, it was like catering and hospitality was the name of the course. So you would learn everything so that no matter what field, because in Scotland anyway, when they're designing courses, they have the understanding that see what you decide you want to do when you're 12, 9 times out of 10 is not going to be what you want to do when you're 20. It's not going to be what you want to do when you're 25, 30, 40. So the way it kind of works is you get a dab into everything. And then that's where you can stem off, well, I want to be in cooking, but I always wanted to be in a restaurant. But now I've learned about the hotel cooking.
Right.
That's more where my passion is. You start drawing more down that route. And it's more of a they see it as they know you're not going to know 12-year-olds are not going to know what they want to be when they're older. They want to be astronauts, ballet dancers, football players, musicians, actors, celebrities, famous. That's what it is. So here they kind of do it that you dabble in everything in that situation, and then that's where you kind of go, oh, do you know what? I actually excel more at this. And as much as when they told me I couldn't get into the work because I didn't have the experience, like back then it was a bad, it hit me hard. Like it made me lose my passion in that. But thinking back on it now, my passion is a lot more in the work that I'm in now.
Right.
So in a weird way, it's like I don't have the regret of not staying or fighting to be in that line of work because I still get to enjoy it. But in a non-pressure situation, like I just get to enjoy cooking. I get to enjoy experimenting. I get to enjoy trying new things, seeing different things. Just it's a better experience for somebody that's passionate, just more about food than like cooking food. Like I get to make and create amazing things for like my family and friends. So I still get my passion in. I just get paid to do something else as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say that I wish over here they had sort of that like you described, like, because we don't have that in like junior high and high school. They don't have like that hospitality suite or whatever. It's just like, oh, get your basic courses in, pass your tests, and then when you go to college, figure it out. It's like, no, 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 no. Give me that. I really wish I would have had what that hospitality suite or that bundle of additional education, because maybe I would have been able to find like this. Maybe like I'm really passionate about entertaining and streaming and telling stories. Like, I didn't know fuck all of what I wanted to do in high school. I was like, I don't know. And then I bounced out of high school, entered the workforce, doing security, and I've been doing security for fucking 15 years. And in that 15 years, I've did martial arts schools and wrote stuff. So I've done a lot of different stuff. But before I went to security, I did do some. I'm a self-taught chef. From my mom and my uncles, I would be in the kitchen and watching them cook and whatnot. And then when I got to be
where
an
you
adult,
learn real cooking,
right?
Let's be real. It's where you learn the real stuff.
Yeah,
the daily life cooking.
Yeah, and then when I got kicked out of my house, I was like, fuck, I gotta feed myself. So I put that experience to the test. I bounced around. I lived with Hell's Phoenix and her husband for a while, and we did a catering job for a political function where it was me and on Twitch his name is Mr. Vacalum, but his real name is Brian. He's like my best friend of all times. So Hell's Phoenix got this catering job for this political function, and she looked at me and Brian and she's like, okay, I'm gonna buy food. You two are gonna make it, and it's for 400 people. And I'm like, what? And Brian goes, what? And she goes, I love you both. Make it happen. And we went, okay. And that's one of the funnest experiences I've ever had, because like it was a totally vegan event, and the kitchen area where we're prepping all this food was off the side of this banquet hall. So Brian and I are just fucking whipping shit at each other and throwing knives around the kitchen, doing our best like Swedish chef impressions, and the food's coming out. And then after that, I bounced around. I worked in a pizzeria for a while. I did fast food, and in that scenario, I didn't like doing it. I don't like cooking for a lot of people. I just like I like styling and showing off for the people upstairs. Like whenever we have somebody come over to the house, Bernadette's like, what are you going to show off this time? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't gone to the store yet. And I'll come back with shit. She's like, what is that for? I'm like, I don't know yet, but I'm going to put it together. And 9 times out of 10, it's phenomenal. Because outside of learning from my parents and my aunts and uncles and growing up in Michigan and learning how to cook like wild game from them, honest to the gods, my culinary training comes from PBS cooking shows like The Frugal Gourmet, Julia Childs, Ming Tsai, the Asian cuisine, Justin Wilson, the Cajun cook. These were all shows that I watched on PBS, the public broadcasting system. And I watched these guys, these big characters, before the Food Network, teach me how to do cooking. And then when I became a teenager, I learned a lot from, I shit you not, the Japanese version of Iron fucking Chef. I watched that show religiously. I learned so much about cooking and ingredients from that show, predominantly mostly Asian, like, fucking inspired
yeah,
shit.
I'd imagine.
But I cannot tell you how much I learned from that. And then when Food Network came around, I started watching Food Network, and I would experiment and stuff like that. So I'm primarily a self-taught cook. I don't call myself a chef. I used to work in kitchens where I you know, technically would have been qualified as a chef or a sous chef, but I'm like that backyard cook. I'm like that backyard chef. Throw it on the grill. Let's go. And one of my expertise in cooking, and when you come next year when COVID's wrapped up, we're gonna get some wild game. We're gonna throw down on some elk heart. We're gonna throw down on some buffalo ribs. We're gonna throw down on some venison back. I want to get a rabbit, and I want to part out a rabbit, and we'll do like a braised red wine rabbit. Yeah, buddy, we're gonna go.
You're kind of lucky that over the last week or so, I've sort of stemmed away from my vegan diet. Then, otherwise, you would have been fucked.
No. The smell would hit your nose, and I'd be like, I can take a break.
But you have to remember, I'm in Scotland where we have that kind of stuff, and I still veered off. So
everybody,
I'm Scottish. I'm stubborn.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. I won't hold it against you.
But no, yeah, like it does. And you were talking when you'd mentioned that your first kind of job in that kind of side was doing the political. So my funny start off story in that sense is my first. Like, once I'd done that and I'd kind of left the passion behind, I did sort of dabble in my own catering business, getting the odd job. And my first job was for my friend's grand's funeral.
Oh, no.
Where I was doing the catering for the kind of, the after kind of meal where you would go back and have, like, finger food and just everybody would be sad and stuff like that. I was so nervous. And being Scottish, you know where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
When they came back, I'd made the food and all that kind of stuff. Everything was nice. I'd made, like, cakes and that. Just nice little finger food. And my friend at the time was like, oh, yeah, like, thanks very much. Because at this point, I'd catered for, like, 50 people. But I wasn't going to take money because it was my best friend. It was his guy's view. He was like, no, we'll give you a couple of pounds and that. And he was like, well, here's a drink, have a beer. Led to a beer, led to another beer, led to me making out with his cousin in his bedroom.
Nice!
Led to another beer, led to me saying the worst phrase you could possibly do at a funeral. We're all in the living room. The kind of the drinks have been flowing. Everybody's starting to kind of calm down. We're all sharing the stories about his gran and everything. We're all having a laugh. And somebody was like, they'd taken some of the food, like, oh, this is really, really good. So it's such a nice, because at that point I was being a bit more the kind of life of the party. We're having a laugh. I'm making the jokes. I'm firing everything off. I'm kind of making jokes about myself as I always do. And they were like, I saw it's such you don't expect to have this sort of, like, it's a funeral and all. And I literally said, that's because I put the fun in funeral.
Oh,
silent.
No!
And it was one of the awkward moments of, fuck, I really should have said something like that at a funeral. Like, they're not supposed to be fun.
You cocked it up.
That was my first flurry into the catering side of what the world was saying that, like, and it was actually the way, like, you're saying, I should put that in my flyers. I put the fun in funeral. Yeah. Do you need one catered?
Don't worry.
If your loved family member died, I'll make it a party.
Don't worry, I won't fuck your cousin. I'll just make out with her in the bedroom.
I have respect for him.
Right? I'll be respectful. I'll just make out with her. Or him. Whatever.
And I will say, she came on to me.
It's all her fault, like, it's all her fault.
Like,
she saw the guilt and couldn't resist.
She was upset that her grandmother had passed away and stuff like that. And
apparently
I probably shouldn't. Upset. But, like, at the end of the day, she came on to me. I wasn't going to say no. One thing led to another. So,
and we just had a cheeky.
It was probably a good day.
For you?
Oh, yeah, for me, it was a great day.
Everybody else is like, oh, grand. And you're like, ah. Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, I will say that I stopped getting drunk at work after that.
Good. That's good.
I started doing actual catering and being sober and not making out with everybody at the party. So I'd like to say that I grew that day as a person.
Your maturity grew 3 sizes bigger.
Exactly. Like, I wait till after the party now to do what I was doing.
Yeah, speaking of that, I worked as a bartender and a bouncer, so I did sling pub food for a while too, because a lot of the bars I worked at were like bars that had grills, so like throwing down on chicken wings or like burgers and shit. That's my jam. So like, but if you were to talk about specialties in like your sort of cuisine, like what's like, you have an overall general skill set, but where's your bag? Like what's your bag when it comes to cooking?
Well, when I was at college and stuff like that, I focused more on desserts, like see, like pastry chef and that. Like, I'm going to have to say something that's going to make everybody laugh, and people are going to go, "What did they say? Did they actually say that?" The title that I have is that I'm a master baker.
Now I'm taking a drink, Dick.
I am a baker of the master variety. I have mastered the art of baking.
so you know how to cream that sugar.
Yeah, I know how to cream the pastry quite well. So sometimes I can master bake in my sleep. Sometimes I'll just master bake on a Wednesday if I'm feeling that little bit. I want to have a wee sneaky little dessert. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, I could go for a good master baking right now.
Just don't glaze the donuts. You'll be all right.
But the original glazed donuts are the best. Like, you don't become a proper master baker if you're not glazing those donuts.
Somehow,
like, how can you call yourself a professional master baker if those donuts are not glazed?
At some point, we need to put the Pornhub music in the background. So you are the master baker. That's your bag, huh?
Yes, that's my bag. I mean, in a savoury style, through college, I focused more on Italian cuisine, like pastas and stuff like that. Where my first sort of kitchen job, I worked at a Chinese restaurant.
Nice.
So I learned the Chinese cuisine, Hong Kong cuisine. So that's more where my bag is those three. But the desserts in Italian, I would say, like I make a mean fucking carbonara. Like, get carbonara. None of your shitty stuff like, oh, let's put this in and this in. No, you don't need that in carbonara. You need 5 ingredients. That's it.
Really?
And
What are they?
Well, I can't remember them really. But it's like you want your pasta, your parmesan, your eggs.
Okay, go, because I have a counter to the parmesan, but go on.
What's your counter to your parmesan?
I've been watching. I binge a lot of YouTube in my off time, and I've been watching this guy.
You've lost it there.
No. Listen, no. There's this guy. There's this channel called Vincenzo's Plate. You know it.
I know it because he worked alongside Jamie Oliver that doesn't have a fucking clue either.
Yeah, Jamie Oliver's a fucking shitbag. I can't stand him. But the guy, I watched him review carbonara videos, and every time there's a carbonara video, he goes, "You don't use Parmesan. You use Pecorino."
See, that's the thing is, it depends on what carbonara you're making. Like, what area of Italy you make your carbonara.
The Sicilian carbonara is made with Pecorino. Is what he says. I don't know. I'm not an expert.
See, I couldn't tell you in that. I just know that Parmesan is like the better. Like, that's what I prefer.
Right. His reasoning is that the Pecorino is made with sheep's milk, so it's a little bit more salty, a little bit more rich. Where
what do you mean milk?
It's made with sheep's milk. Where Parmesan apparently comes from cows.
Well, yeah, you're talking about the cheese,
right? Yeah, the cheese. Okay, yeah.
Jesus, I was wondering there. I thought you were just about to say that you put milk in your carbonara.
Fuck no, I know that. You don't put no carbonara. You don't put milk in no carbonara.
We were going to have a throwdown there. Like, I was just about to start
jumping on a plane.
Yeah, jumping on a plane, getting a ladder, coming across, and just like the only thing I would say that I add in, which some Italians would be a bit like, oh my fucking god, how dare you, is I put in double cream.
You do?
But it's only like 60 ml.
Okay.
But it's the likes of, the way I do it is I get my pancetta, cube it up so it's nice and
you don't
lovely.
Use guanciale?
No, pancetta. Okay. Pancetta's got the smoky and the fat, and you want that fat because that's what's going to start flavouring and stuff. Because what you want to do is you want to put your pancetta in and cook it, but you want it to stick to the bottom of the pan.
Okay.
Not burn, but stick to the bottom of the pan so that you get that stuff. Take the pancetta out. You get your dry vermouth or your dry white wine.
You add vermouth, huh?
Yeah, or wine or vermouth, whatever you kind of thing. It's a bit. There's
Mm-hmm.
no that much. It's like it's to deglaze the bottom
Right.
and get the pancetta that's stuck to the bottom off
Yeah,
it
so
again.
you get the fond or whatever it's called.
Exactly. So you do that, and then in another little bowl, you'd make up your eggs, your parmesan, and your double cream
Mm-hmm.
with your black pepper and all those kind of like little bits and pieces that you put in
Do
just
you
for the shits and giggles and stuff like that.
roast the black pepper first, or do you like pan roast it first, or no?
No, I just get it. You can get pan roasted black pepper or pan roasted crackback pepper here as a thing you can pick up for the supermarket. It's already been done.
Okay.
So I pick up that. I sometimes go with nutmeg if they have it in stock. If
Okay.
not, I don't find it. It's one of those ones that's not necessarily Italian, but it gives that nice little nuttiness
Yeah, it gives you a
to
little something on it.
your thing. And then you make your pasta. But this is where I think it is. I make a shit ton of pasta. I make like 500 grams of pasta.
Yeah,
Boil
that's
it in
what
a
I would do.
pot. Take your half cup of pasta water out, drain it, fire it in. Put your mixture in with your carbonara. Not on the heat. Don't put heat
Yeah,
because
no,
you'll just
God,
curdle
no.
your eggs.
Yeah.
Mix it up. Little bit of your pasta water again to coat it. Don't serve it.
No.
Grab 4 forks. Put them in the pan. Put it on the middle of the table, and you just fucking family time that shit. No clean up. It's one pot and a bowl you've used. That's it.
Nice.
And that's it. I mean, it's more. Like I say, family time. It's more lovers carbonara because it's supposed to be for 2 people. You eat it out. You do Lady and the Tramp that shit kind of thing.
You Lady in the Tramp that shit. I got you. I feel you. Yeah,
Like
that's a recipe
in bed,
I've heard.
in the middle of ye's just nice. Heat for the pot, heat from the room. Keep that fire burning. Pot goes to the side. Heat keeps on coming.
I got you. I feel you. I feel you on that. So
That's the point of cooking. And Italian cooking is that you share it with the people you love or that one special person that you love that one night.
Isn't that one night? Isn't that all food though? Isn't that the goal of all food, in my opinion? Like just to share it with the ones you
definitely.
love?
Like food, and you're supposed to like. I'll share if I make enough. Like, I'm no somebody that, I've made this for myself. Why don't you have some of it? No, fuck off. That's my food. You want this, make it your fucking self.
Right.
If I've made you some, I've made you extra.
Right.
But I ain't about sharing my shit. But, like, and those kind of things, like, if the situation arises that you're supposed to be sharing, that's different.
Right.
So... But yeah, no, I totally agree that you're supposed to, for me, the point of food is you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to enjoy it. You're supposed to like what you're making. Like, don't make stuff that you know you don't like. Like, this whole, I hate when people turn around, I don't like that. Which, have you tried it? No.
Right.
You will sit down and I will fucking force this in your face.
Yeah, my middle
Unless
son
it's a
like
dietary
that.
thing. Like if it's a dietary thing, I can understand that. But I hate when people say they don't like something when they've never tried it. Like if you physically don't want to do it for other reasons, that's fair enough. But you can't say you don't like it because you've never tried it.
Right.
So I wouldn't say go and make stuff that you've tried and you don't like because you don't like it. There's the point in that. But you're supposed to just enjoy it, have fun. It's supposed to be a great experience. Like you do it, like it's how you sustain your life, apart from air. But like, let's have fun with it. Just experiment that wee bit. Push the boat out. Make 500 grams of pasta for 2 people.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up. That food should be fun, and a lot of times, and to not take a downturn in the conversation, but a lot of times, especially like when you're in a lower income bracket, you don't have the luxury of having fun with your food. Like you eat to survive.
That's the thing is, I was never in the higher end of like we were in like no one to get too personal, but like we hit rock bottom as a family like years ago, and that like we had to move to different houses and stuff like that. When like my mum took ill and she had to give up her job. My dad lost, like he's self-employed, so work was never guaranteed. There was times where he got messed around professionally and stuff,
Mhm.
that we never really had, like, but we understood the value, and my parents made it more of their prerogative that the little things that they could give us were made like we used to have, like, our idea, like me, my brother and my sister, see, on a Sunday, our idea of fun, now to other people it might sound weird, but our idea of fun was my parents would take us to a garden centre, and we would run around the garden centre trying to make sure that my parents couldn't see us. We were hiding from them as if we were in the jungle.
Yeah.
That was our way of family time, was going to a shop, because my parents couldn't afford to take us to theme parks. They couldn't afford us to take us here, there, that cost money. So our family time was made of spending time with the family.
Yeah.
So, and it was the same with food, is that we never had the luxury of, like it used to be like once every now and again we'd go out to a restaurant for something to eat. Everything else was in the house, and my mum would make us the dinner, and even to the point where she had 3 kids plus my dad, and she would literally sit there and make 3 different meals every night, because I liked something, my sister liked something else, and my brother liked something else. 3 meals a day. And that was where I kind of got into the cooking side, was watching my mum cook, because my mum wasn't like, even when my mum worked full time and my dad worked full time, my mum still found the time to make home cooked meals.
Yeah.
Like, she would make that big pot of soup that done us 3 days. She would make the stew. She would make the stovies. She would make the mince and tatties. Like, that was what she done, and that's what we seen growing up. Because my mum always made it a thing of, like, especially for me and my brother, was that when we grew up, we shouldn't be the old style thing where the man relies on the woman to cook. My mum made sure when we were brought up that we knew how to cook, we knew how to put on washings, we knew how to take care of ourselves. We didn't have to rely on the 1950s style that the woman does all the housework and the man just goes to work. Like, we were brought up under the normalcy that everything is 50-50. That's how it works. So that's where I kind of learned more of the kind of beginnings of cooking, was learning how to make, like, the big pots of spaghetti, because back then it was a case of, we maybe had a £5 for dinner, so my mum would have to make enough food for 5 people for that money. And like, see, thinking back now, like, I know costs back in the 90s and that were different and they were lower, but see, trying to think back now and going, the money that my mum and dad were bringing in, and the meals that they were, like, every Saturday we used to have a thing, we called it the picnic. Basically, it was a buffet on a Saturday night. My mum would you'd have your pizza, you'd have your super noodles, you'd have these chicken wings, sausage rolls and stuff like that. It was just wee finger food.
Yeah.
But the point of it is, it'd be a Saturday night, 7 o'clock, we'd have our picnic, we would watch the likes of Mr. Bean, Blind Date, Family Fortunes, the game shows, and that was your Saturday night. And, like, it was funny because those nights got so, like, our friends started asking if they could come to dinner at our house to have the picnic and watch the TV thing. And it was the same on a Sunday night. A Sunday night, there used to be, like, see, like, the ice cream trucks.
Yeah.
We over here, we have, it's basically those vans, but it's like grocery stores.
Oh, okay.
That they would just sell, like, kind of like your local produce, like veg and stuff like that, the odd tins and that kind of stuff. But on a Sunday night, my dad, we would come in to get our bath for school the next on the Monday and stuff. So at 8 o'clock, you would come in, get your bath and that. 9 o'clock, my dad would go down to the street where the van would come, and he would buy a chocolate fudge cake.
Nice.
And the 5 years would sit up with the chocolate fudge cake, watching Mr. Bean and that, and then go to our bed. And again, that was fun. That was where we were enjoying ourselves, because it was family time. It didn't cost a lot of money, but it was enjoyable. And it just slowly got on for there, because even now we still have those sort of nights where it's like, we just put out a couple of bits of food, like Christmas as well. You have your big Christmas dinner, but the fun part is in the evening when My brother and sister-in-law come up, my sister and brother-in-law come up. We put out the kind of the cheese board with the odd little bits and pieces.
Charcuterie.
Yeah, and then play board games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Christmas usually goes. Same with New Year, Hogmanay and stuff,
Right.
and that. So, as much as I can understand that in some instances, like money and poverty does play a major role in that side, but in growing up in sort of that situation, like we weren't poor, we weren't like
right. You weren't destitute.
Yeah, like it wasn't like we were homeless and stuff.
Right.
Like we were like bills and all were still, but it was just we were at the lower, like we were working class. Yeah, so it was like my parents made the best of every situation, and that went on to us because even though we didn't have everything, we always got what we asked for. It might have not been right then. If we asked for a toy, it was always maybe later. When Christmas came around, that toy was there.
Right.
They might have not that was the other thing that we always wondered is how my mum and dad were able to get the Christmases that we had, like with the fact that my mum was ill and couldn't work, so it was my dad's wage that was coming in. He was able to pay all the bills of the house, plus get a Christmas for 3 children.
Yeah.
And like even to this day, like as much as we were in like the lower levels of the kind of food chain of poverty and riches and that, my childhood was absolutely fantastic. I would never change the childhood that I had, even though I couldn't get every new console, I couldn't get every new PlayStation game that came out, I couldn't get every new football shirt. What I did get was lessons in how to live, lessons in how family and friends are important, and lessons on the value of the sentimental things, like the little things that people forget add to your life, because it's those little things that make life what it is. It's like you never ever see me posted up about anything else, but if I get a really great view at work, I post that up on Twitter,
right,
because it's a stunning thing for me to be sitting there going, I get to see this.
Yeah.
And I want to share it. Like that's like such a small aspect of life here, because it's all around, but it's a small thing that to me is just like, it's a great part of my life. Because I would be lost without that. Like if I was living in like a city where like London where you never got that, I would struggle, because I don't want that. I want to see that. And it's the same way, like the other day I had like, or not even today, my nephew, he's almost 2, and we literally spend, whenever he comes up, 20 minutes, and he'll run from the couch to the living room door and bang the door, and then I'll run after him, and he'll like running past me, and I'll run and bang the door, and he'll bang the couch, and then we'll run past each other and bang them again, then we'll run past each other, and he'll just for 15-20 minutes back and forth, we'll do that. And then another one is that he'll run up to me and I'll lift him up, I'll take him to the light switch, he'll turn the light on, I put him down, he runs across the room, stamps his feet, runs back to get picked up, to turn the light off, to go back down, run the room, stamp his feet, come back, and we'll sit there for 30 minutes. And it's like, I would never change that. Like, to everybody else, that's just like, what the fuck? But it's those little moments that make me go, I am so fucking happy where I am in my life, that I know you might not have the money for, but it's like, a child doesn't need the PlayStation every week. The child doesn't need, like, the child wants you to run around a house for half an hour. That's it. That's all a child needs, to have fun and enjoy himself.
Yeah,
so, like, as much as I agree that
you get them this great toy and they play with the box.
Exactly, that's how it is. And like, as I agree with the fact that money can play a major role in that aspect of life, but at the same time, if your priority is that you need to have that amount of money, there's something that you're doing wrong, because again, I'm not saying that people that are in really, really bad financial, like homelessness and that's a different, like, it's hard to find the joys in the little things when that's your situation. But if you've got a roof over your head, you've got family around you, you shouldn't be focused on, oh, I need to have this because my friends at school that's parents or doctors got them that. Who gives a flying fuck what Jesse and Sarah have got at school because their parents are divorced and they're trying to fight at each other to make sure their daughter loves them more? That's a different situation. My situation is that I love my family. I love the time I spend with my family. Who the fuck cares of anything else? If everybody else turns around and goes, but you've got holes in your jeans, and they cover the important parts, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
and you mentioned that when I didn't mean to cut you off, but you made a great point. I wanna bring it up because in your upbringing, one of the major focuses in your little ramble there was how much the food was there. The tatties and the soup and stuff. And growing up like that, I grew up, at times we were well off, but at times we were homeless. Like, my mom was a bartender for 28 years. Like, we lived off her wage, and sometimes when she had a good relationship, we had more, and then sometimes when we didn't, it was just us. And one of the things I was getting at when you have to eat to survive is a lot of times people who aren't taught like how to cook and how to like and kids who aren't taught how to cook or aren't involved in the feeding of the family, so to speak, they don't understand what food is or the emotional connection to making your food for somebody and the joy that that person, like, my mom would take, at some point she'd have like $25. She'd have like the equivalent of like $25, and she would get like a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, stick of butter, a thing of Spam, and some noodles, and maybe some ketchup, and she would be able to whip up fucking amazing shit. It was garbage food, but the way she spun it, or how she like would have a random ass spice from whatever closet, chuck it in there like wham, and you'd eat it and you'd be like, I know this is trash food, like it's garbage, but like there's something that she would do, and it's the fact that she, and this is gonna sound cliched, and I don't mean to sound a cliche, but she was preparing food for her family, so there was something to it. And my mom, I'm the oldest of all my siblings, and I've got several of them, a couple of which have passed away, a couple of which I don't deal with due to personal reasons, but like, out of all of our siblings, me, my youngest brother, and my youngest sister are the only ones that learned how to cook with my mom. My brothers on my dad's side all know how to cook. They like my brother who passed away, Cody, who I never met, was apparently, he was like Chef City. That dude was like, wow, like sushi chef, you name it. And my brother Rusty can throw down and cook real well too. So like, cooking has been a through line in my family for like generations. Like, my aunts know how to cook, my uncles know how to cook, and my mom too made sure that the boys knew how to carry their own weight. Like, I know how to wash laundry. Bernadette doesn't let me do the laundry because she's obsessed about how it needs to get done. But I know how to do the laundry. I know how to cook. The only weakness that I have in like just the household chore dynamic is I can't detail clean. Like, I'm not good at like getting all like the nicks and crannies. Like, if I like wipe everything down and sweep everything and I prepare all the meals, that's good. Bernadette will go, you missed that, and I'm like, I don't do the detail work. I'm not. That's a weakness. But
like, you didn't move in all the furniture in this living room and hoover under the couches and the wall units and stuff. Like, how dare you, sir? How dare you?
I'm not good at that. But in particular, when it comes to cooking, you talk about how carbonara is like your signature, right? That's like your jam. Yeah. For me, I gotta say, when it comes to like, my bag for cooking is meat. Like, any type of meat. Like, I can style on it, like barbecue, grill, roast it, broil it, braise it. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, I'm just like in my house, B and I cook together, and I prepare like the mains and the proteins, and then B
Right.
will do like all the side development because she's really good at that. She can do all that stuff, and she's like a baker herself. She like bakes. I sent you the photos of the cake she decorated.
Oh
Like,
yeah, definitely.
she's
Like,
fucking phenomenal at that. But
yeah,
she
definitely.
can't. It's not that she can't. She just doesn't like cooking
Right.
because cooking in a lot of ways is feel, where baking is
Right.
science. And Bernadette can't. She doesn't have the feel for like this needs a little of that, or like you can grab some salt and chuck it in, or it needs some paprika or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but like my bag is just like proteins, like big proteins, cutting them down, like making up steaks and seasoning them up, and really cooking them different ways and presenting them in different ways. That's like my thing. The weak spot, and I'm going to ask you the weak spot in your cooking game. The weak spot in my cooking game, and I know it's a secret shame of mine. I cannot do a sauce or a gravy to save my fucking life, dude. I can't. Sauces and gravies, I'm the weakest at. But I try.
What part of it is it's weak? Is it just the execution of it, or is it trying to get the flavors right?
I can't get it. I can't get a sauce or a gravy to come together. I can't get it to form that consistency of a sauce or a gravy. So, like, if I go to make a gravy, it comes out like just watery. I can't get it. I can't get the roux right to thicken it the way I want. I can never dial in the right amount of thickening for a sauce or a gravy. And
Do
it
you
can
make
come.
the roux first, or do you make the stock first, and then add like the butter and the flour to
I
the sort
add.
the
I make the roux in advance, and then I add it to whatever stock is in the pot.
right? Well, what you do is the other way, not the like make your roux first,
Uh-huh.
and then add the stock to the roux
Okay.
in parts, because the roux. See like when you do it, the roux is basically butter and flour.
Right. Cook it
So
out until
you
it's.
melt your butter. Don't let your butter gold.
Mm-mm.
Don't brown your butter. Just get it so it's nice and melted.
Till it
And
foams a
then you
little.
add in, so it's like 50 grams of butter, 100 grams of flour,
Okay.
and you cook it down, and then let it fry.
Okay.
Like not like burn or anything like that, but cook it until the flour taste is away, or the smell, the flavor's away.
Yeah.
Like just
That I
keep
can
on going,
do.
keep on going, keep on going, and then let it sit as it fries and bubbles away for a while, and it'll spread out. Then you'll mix it, and it'll stiffen up. Then it'll spread out, and it'll stiffen up, and then that's when you add in your stock, piece by piece, because what it is when you add in your stock, your roux will just turn to nothing. But it's the gradual heat again that will thicken it, because that's when
Oh, okay.
the starch and that kind of stuff. That's where the science starts working. Everything starts binding again and stuff, and then that's when it'll thicken up. And then see if it starts thickening too much, you add in more of your stock to thin it again.
Okay.
Beat it, let it bubble away again. It'll thicken up again, and then it's the slow adding that you'll then get the consistency that you want, as opposed to chucking all your stock in, and then the flour's got nothing. It'll just dissolve in it.
Yeah, I think that's my problem. Is
Yeah.
I don't know how much roux I need to make to really get it. So I think especially with gravies, that's my big weakness. Is like I would make everything and then I'd chuck the roux in and then let it simmer to thicken up, and it would never thicken up.
Another good trick, and I learned this, it was the Chinese restaurant I learned this, is corn flour. Not
Really?
cornstarch, corn flour. And what you do is you literally just put the corn flour in water, and it'll be runny. Like it's
Slurry.
basically it's the way you make that slime. Like see when you're handling it, it's hard,
Yeah,
but if you
yeah.
stop it, it'll come out your hand. That's what the Chinese do. See when they're making up like if you're getting like a chicken and mushroom with an oyster sauce,
Okay.
it's just a stock that they made up, and then they add in the corn flour and water, and that thickens.
Okay.
And it doesn't have the kind of pungent flour flavour, because it's just that you're adding like a teaspoon of the flour water mixture, and that'll thicken it. It's another kind of like if you make a roux, then you add in your stock and it thins it and it doesn't re-thicken. Adding more flour is then just going to alter the taste of your stock, because you're never going to be able to cook that flour taste out now.
Right.
Because it's like when you're cooking with alcohol, you need to burn off the alcohol and cook it out. But if you put it in, like, that's why if you're using like a wine, you deglaze your pan with the wine, because you cook out the alcohol. If you don't do that, the alcohol doesn't get cooked out that quick, so you'll leave it in, and that's the same with flour. So if that's the case, instead of adding flour to try and thicken it, you add the corn flour and water to thicken it.
Okay.
And then it means that you'll not get that flour taste, but it will gradually. And over time, you'll start to learn. Like, I still couldn't tell you, if I was making sauce for 10 people, how much roux I have to make. Like, I can still not, again, like you said, it's more about feel. Because I've been making a cheesecake for fucking 17 years. It was the first recipe I learned in secondary school when I was 13. And I've been making 17 years. I am definitely 30. I have the
I was gonna say
17 years, and it's never really deviated too much from it.
Mm-hmm.
But my sister, I make it just at Christmas.
Right.
And I've got to the point where I have to make 4 cheesecakes, because I have one that stays at my house. I have to send one down to my sister's house. I have to send one to my brother's house, and now I have to send one to my friend's house, because they all love this cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister asked me a couple of weeks ago for the recipe for it. And it was heartbreaking to tell her that I've never had a recipe, because the way I do it is, it's like, right,
muscle
you put the
memory.
cream cheese in, then you put in the sugar, and you beat it and beat it, then you taste it. That does the taste quite what it's supposed to. So you add in a wee bit more sugar, beat it. Right, that's at this stage, that's what it's supposed to taste and feel like. Then you add in the next thing, you add in it, and that's it. And it's like, you can't teach that. It's not something you can teach. It's just a case of, so I was like, well, what I'll have to do is you'll have to come up and I'll make it. And at each stage, I'll get you to taste how it should taste like. And then you'll just have to remember. That's it.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
You'll have to feel
You just need to remember how I make this for 17 years.
Yeah.
But, that's just it. And cooking it's just... People will say that they know, but there really is not a science to it. No. It's just a case of, and especially when you have people who turn around and go like, "Oh, you've not put enough salt in that. You've not put enough." It's like, no, I've not put enough salt in it for you.
Yeah,
there's plenty of salt in it for me.
That's why the phrase to taste is such a big thing.
Exactly. But you need to taste everything.
Yeah, like when it comes to sauces and gravies, like I can doctor up a sauce all day long. like I'll go get a really high quality sauce from like the store, and once I get it in a pan, I can be like, all right, what do I need to punch it up? Yeah. But I can't make one from scratch. But if you give me like a really good like base, I can style on that, and you'll be like, oh, was it homemade? I'll be like, mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, you made it in your home. Like, you went and bought it from a store, but you cooked it at home.
I made it my own. But what's your, if you were to completely critique yourself, where's your weak point in cooking or baking? Because mine is sauces and gravies. I can't make them worth a shit.
See, I think what the problem with me is see, because I was professionally taught. It was kind of drilled in, like the basics of like many things were drilled in.
Right.
So long as you kind of go from that basic, you can deviate and experiment and kind of gradually build up. So there's nothing that really comes to my head. Like, I'm not saying that I'm amazing at cooking everything. Right. Like, there will be stuff that I just don't cook well, but it's things that I maybe not cook enough to know personally that's not really, like, do you know one thing that I've always wanted to make, and every time I've tried to make it is see good fried chicken, like see like gravy style with the flour and the spices. Like, I can never get it to brown properly. Right. Mine's always seems, I don't know if it's because like I'm either putting it in too cold of an oil, like it's just not hot enough, or I'm not basting it right and stuff. But whenever you watch things, it's like they just like they take their chicken and it's just a dusting in the seasoned flour, and then they fry it and it turns out like KFC. But whenever I do it, it either starts falling off the chicken, or it doesn't brown, or it just doesn't have that flavour that you want. So it's like that seems to be something. Like, I mean, I can make I've got a really nice recipe, and funnily enough, it's going to sound crazy. I've got a southern wing recipe that I learned from the YouTube channel Angry Grandpa.
Oh no!
He made a trailer park chicken wing
Oh,
where he put seasoning and all that kind of stuff. And I tell you, out of word of the lie, best fucking chicken wings I've ever tasted. Right, that guy knew how to. I mean, don't get me wrong. When you're watching his cooking show and there's cockroaches walking about his trailer, it was a bit like I wouldn't eat what he's made, but I'll use his recipe. It was like that kind of thing. But it's the kind of the southern fried chicken. I just can never get that it to stick, or just, and then you start going, oh, do I have to do the whole put it in egg, then put it in flour, and then that'll do it. But that just gives you a different kind of chicken or a different batter kind of thing.
Well,
so
there's two keys to making like a real good southern fried chicken. And in order to do it right, you have to brine the chicken first. That's a huge mistake. People don't. You have to brine the chicken in buttermilk. You got to leave it sit overnight in buttermilk, pat it dry. Then what you're going to do is you're going to flour it. Then you dredge it in egg. Then you put it in your seasoned breadcrumb or your seasoned flour. And then you fry it, either deep fry or shallow fry, in whatever oil you're using. And the oil's got to be at like 350. So 350 Fahrenheit, I think it's 180 C or whatever it is for you over there.
I'm not, I can't do that conversion, but I'll figure it.
You have Google. I have Google. But yeah, the trick to really good southern fried chicken is that buttermilk brine. And you do have to do you got to do the flour it, egg it, and then re-flour it, and then let it sit.
Okay.
Because if you let it sit for about 5-10 minutes, the egg will then, and the brine will suck all that flour down onto it, so it'll stay together. Because a lot of people they'll flour it, egg it, and then flour it again and drop it right into the oil. No. You got to let it sit.
I think that's probably where I've been going, because I think I'm more of a kind of dip dash drop.
Yep, and that's why it falls apart. You got to let it sit. You gotta let it sit for like 5 minutes. Once you let it sit, that egg and the buttermilk brine will absorb some of that flour and kind of form like a coating on it. That's what.
How long would you normally like marinate, say, in the buttermilk?
Overnight.
Like how long would you? It's just overnight. Right.
Minimum 2 hours. Overnight is best.
Right. Okay.
Because the acid in the buttermilk is going to break down some of those chicken proteins and then get absorbed and flavor it. So you get this really rich kind of tanginess to the chicken. And then when you get regular flour, then you take your egg wash, a lightly beaten egg, and then you season either the breadcrumb or the flour on the second dip. So you got 3 bowls. You got the unseasoned flour, you got the egg, and then you got the seasoned flour and the breadcrumb. Roll it in there, set it on a tray, let it sit for 5 minutes, then fry it off.
Right, okay. Is there any specific oil you would suggest? I know you said that it's whatever you want to use, but like, would you say the likes of like a canola oil, an olive oil, vegetable oil?
You could do a canola oil, but canola oil is so basic, bitch. Like, I like to use, I like to shallow fry my chicken in an avocado oil.
Right, okay.
Because not only are you going to get the neutral flavor of, like, the avocado oil won't add to the chicken at all. It won't change the flavor. But you'll get all the omega-3 fatty acids and all the good lipids from the avocado oil into the chicken. So you're actually making healthy fried chicken.
Fair enough.
And barring avocado oil, any, like, if you can get a good, like, clean peanut oil, that's a real popular one to do fried chicken in. But if you got peanut allergies, do that. But, like, I don't like canola oil. Canola oil is bullshit. I can't stand it. A good vegetable oil is really good, too.
Canola oil isn't really a thing here. Like olive oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, and
Sunflower oil's
rapeseed
not bad.
oil.
Grapeseed
That's really
oil.
like they're like the main ones that you get here. So
Yeah,
I'll have a look in kinda like we've got some specialty stores that have a larger variety. So I'll go and have a look in those stores and see if I can get like say peanut or avocado.
yeah.
But
Avocado oil is great. We use it here at the house all the time. It's so good. Like
I use coconut oil a lot. Like I like
You can do
coconut
that.
oil,
You can do that. You
but
can try
it's
to.
very expensive to be
Mm-hmm.
deep frying stuff
Yeah,
in.
I would. Like if you were gonna like pan sear it, you could do a coconut oil pan sear chicken. Like just put a little
Yeah,
coconut oil and then sear it off in like that. But if you're doing like fried chicken, yeah, I'd definitely say like a good avocado
yeah.
oil
I'd
or a
like
good
to
veg.
if I was going to do it. I want to do it the right way. Like I want to have it
Mm-hmm.
where, like, see that kind of way. I wonder if this is going to go up fire because of the bubbling. That's the level I want. Is the
Yeah.
real when you see like again. Like you were saying earlier, you kind of learned from like the PBS cooking shows
Mm-hmm. Oh
and
boy.
Food Networks. That was the way I went. I kind of went through like you get Food Network here with like your Triple D and
Yeah.
Manny versus Food and all. But we have a channel called Good Food, which is like BBC run.
Right.
And that is it's like your Jamie Olivers, your Gordon Ramsays, Gino De Campos.
Jamie Oliver
Like
can eat a
that.
dick.
Yeah, he ruined every fucking bit. He tried to like his next one is trying to get rid of Iron Brew. And it's like, mate, you are
No.
starting a fucking war that you are not gonna win or finish. Like you will end up 6 feet under if you dare try and take Iron Brew. Like
I've
of
never
what
had
the
it.
Scottish drink and eat, the Iron Brew is the healthiest fucking thing. Maybe attacking something else like the deep fried Mars bars and fucking batter. Let's do that rather than the Iron Brew.
I gotta get my hands on some Iron Brew. I've heard, like, I watched a podcast years ago where one of the hosts drank it and he just lost his mind. I'm like, I gotta get me some of that.
See, the funniest thing about it is I've watched people like taste Scottish stuff, and it's always Iron Brew, and so many people talk about how it has a bubblegum flavour, and
Oh.
every Scottish
What?
person will turn around and go, "What the fuck are you talking about? Bubblegum? It's like bubblegum. It tastes like Iron Brew. It's one of the ones where, like, see that pineapple milkshake beer,
Yeah.
where it didn't taste of anything. It tasted of itself. That's Iron Brew. That you
Tastes like Iron
physically
Brew.
cannot explain what Iron Brew tastes like. Iron Brew tastes like Iron Brew. Like we
Right.
have so many. Like you have Bars Iron Brew. That is the main brand. Is Bars Iron Brew. You have other cheaper versions where it's Iron Brew, but it's spelled IRON
Oh, get out of there.
BREW
No.
and stuff like that. But it's cheap knockoff and it tastes cheap knockoff.
Yep.
But true Iron Brew, the only way you can describe it is it tastes of Iron Brew. But now that they started bringing out like your Iron Brew Zero and your Diet Iron Brew, they taste different than normal Iron Brew. But it's like Iron Brew is the greatest hangover cure ever. Is you forever talk to anybody from Scotland is on a Sunday morning after a wicked 2-day binging session with alcohol. There's nothing better than a greasy fry up and an ice cold glass bottle. Like only a glass bottle will work of Iron Brew. Your cans, your plastic bottles and stuff, like it's just it doesn't hit as good as the good old glass bottle of Iron Brew, but it has to be ice cold. It just hits differently. Like we even have Iron Brew ice cream and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh God, I have to try it. What?
And
Okay.
Iron Brew bars,
What?
like actual chewy bars.
What is
It's
it about
insane.
stuff in a glass bottle? Because over
It
here,
just hits
if you
different.
get Coke or like Dr. Pepper or Pepsi in a glass bottle, it's leaps and bounds ahead of anything else. Like what? What is it about the glass bottle?
It must be the carbonation process.
You think so?
Like I think it's just like I know they put a film in the tin so that the aluminium doesn't actually affect the contents, but I think it's just I think it's an array of things. I think it's like the feel of drinking out a glass bottle just has that, oh, I have class and elegance. I am drinking from a glass bottle. I am a king. That sort of like that starts with it. The fact that just like it's like you drink out a glass, like just a normal drinking glass.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's if you drink out a drinking glass or you drink out a paper cup,
right?
There's a difference there just in the aesthetic of it. And the likes of flavour wise, I think even though they have like a film in that, the tin or the cans and the plastic just still play a part in the overall experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it necessarily is that it tastes different. I think on that level it's more the psychological effects of it being a glass bottle, because you think a glass bottle, it was the old style, like it always came in glass bottles, and then they brought out plastic. I think it's just that sort of vintage class sort of. It's the exact same thing. Like you go and have Nutella spread.
Ugh, I hate Nutella.
Right? Do you like Ferrero Rocher?
I do, but I don't.
It's the same thing.
I know.
That's
but
the crazy thing.
I know, but you look at a bottle of Nutella and it's all fucking sugar, and I'm like, nope. I can't.
But that's the thing, is it's physically the same. Like, see, in a Ferrero Rocher, they use basically Nutella.
I know.
But it tastes so much better because a Ferrero Rocher has class and dignity. That's the thing. Like, if somebody goes, here's a piece of Nutella, you're like, it's nothing special. But if somebody goes, Ferrero Rocher, you're like, you have, yes, I do. Like, that's just how it is. If somebody gives you like an off-brand for like a Fred Rocher, like, you'll be like, the fuck is this shit? But as soon as you have that elegance of the brand, because like everybody talks shit about, like, you have Coca-Cola and you have like store brand Coke.
Store brand is better than Coca-Cola.
There's not really a great deal of a flavour change to me.
No,
but you're paying $2 more for the brand name as opposed to
nuts.
Like, it costs the exact same amount of money to make Coca-Cola as it does to make store brand Coke. It's just that you're paying for the name brand.
And they're made in the same factory.
Is. Pretty much. So it's, to me, I think it's more the psychological aesthetic of the glass bottle that just makes it, like, as I said, the Ferrero Rocher is the best kind of example that I can come to of the fact that it's just hazelnut chocolate, but because the aesthetic of a Ferrero Rocher is big, it's the balls and the dignitaries is where it comes from, that makes you kind of go, yeah, it's class. And if you're eating Ferrero Rochers, you've made it in the world, kind of thing. Whereas
you came up a bit.
You're eating your Dairy Milk chocolate bar, you're like, it costs me 45p. You can get a box of 6 Ferrero Rochers for £1 here.
Oh, wow.
It's no as if it's like an expensive.
Over here.
Really? Well, when you're over here, just load up.
Smuggle it back and sell it for a profit.
Because that's what literally my plan when I'm coming there is, I'm literally going to book in, like, I'll take one case with me, but my return, like, especially when I was supposed to be coming to New York and get Christmas there, I had literally booked, returning, my booking was to 2 suitcases.
You gotta pop the pit. I'm listening. I'm just popping a pit out.
Oh no! I just thought I'd wait until we
get a knife and bang it into that and pop it out.
No, why are they so hard?
Because they're not ripe yet. She's trying to eat an avocado, but it's not completely ripe yet. So she's all like, ah.
See, the problem is it's green in your green screen, so I can't actually see the color.
Right? It's like,
you're so strong.
Hang on, I gotta pop this out real quick.
Did you tell Chris about your plan?
No, not that point. Oh, shit.
Why the
Avocado's trying to commit suicide.
Because you're murdering it.
I got avocado pit all over my shirt now. You're gonna need a new one, because I just destroyed that one. It's not ripe, so she's like, pull the pit out, and it's like, it's not coming out. Anyway, well, as that diatribe goes on, and my daughter struggles with an avocado pit, Good luck. Go get another one. We got 2 bags of the motherfuckers. Hey, stop throwing avocado at me. Go on.
I'm gonna throw it away in here.
It's not ripe. Give it a day or 2. And
Why
go.
did you get the ripe one?
Because I knew I wasn't going to be making avocados right away. I was going to let them sit for a day. Yep, storm off, punk. Sorry for you guys. For you guys that are listening, that was my daughter Burke getting all pissed off because the avocados weren't ripe. Avocados like her favorite thing to eat. But I wasn't going to be making anything with avocado, so I was like, oh, I'll just grab the bag of ones that need to ripen up for a day or 2. Nope, she was like, I want avocado, and it's like, not happening.
Sometimes your heart wants what it wants.
Now my dog is trying to clean the floor of the avocado that got thrown at me. But you were saying it's the psychological thing, and you were gonna load up when you come over here. You're gonna load up on what? You have a second case.
Well, the plan is that I was taking a case with me, and then I was booking a second case to come back. So I was just going to buy another case in America,
right,
and then just load it up with shite that I wanted to bring home. Like that was the solid plan. Was that I was just going to bring home the chocolate, the any food source that I can get a hold of. Like there's I don't know. There's it's more in Salt Lake City where one of my friend of a friend that came across from the States, and it's Ruby Murray's cookies.
Oh, okay.
She'd brought them across, and they are fucking phenomenal. And my other plan was I was going to go to Salt Lake City, go to Ruby Murray's, and pick up a bunch of cookies and just take them with me as well. Like my plan was, I was just like for a good solid 3 weeks, was just buy shit to bring home with me. And I would probably suggest you do the same here. When you come here, just book in a third case going home with you, and just fill it with Iron Brew, Ferrero Rocher, Dairy Milk,
and then
Iron Brew bars.
Get a jacket and walk around town and be like, I got Ferrero Rocher, motherfucker. You want some of that Iron Brew? Iron Brew is actually illegal here. Did you know that?
Really? Why?
Yeah, because it's got something in it that there's an ingredient in Iron Brew that the USDA doesn't allow. So Iron Brew is actually illegal in America.
What makes that insane is that the UK and EU's food regulatory standards are so much more stricter than the US that it's insane to think that the UK has an ingredient that the US, like the United States of America, deem unsafe. The same nation that allow their cows to be fed fucking fertilizer and chemicals to beef them up, deem a certain ingredient used in Scotland is unsuitable for human consumption. That blows my fucking mind. I'm sorry. That's insane. Like, are we talking about the same United States? Like, you're not talking about like a secret United States that,
for real.
that only exists within the United States.
No, Iron Brew is illegal. Iron Brew is illicit. I'll be like, I got that illegal Iron Brew. Make you strong. Make you go a long time.
I genuinely didn't know that, and that is an eye opener. That is a situation America has. Is they deem Iron Brews unsuitable.
I think
it's still some of the shit they put through.
I'll have to double check, but I know a couple of years ago I was watching a podcast where the dude was drinking Iron Brew and he's like, I feel I'm a criminal, and he's swinging on it, and they're like, don't show it on camera, and I was like, why? Yeah, I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure there's an ingredient or something in Iron Brew that's illegal because like we have an ingredient that's similar, and they don't want to have like the real shit. They want us to use our shit. It's the same thing like over here in the United States, tonka beans. If you know what a tonka bean is, it's kind of like a mixture of vanilla and nutmeg and cinnamon all wrapped in one. They're really, really good, but they're like super illegal. But like they're all over like high end bars. You can shave a tonka bean on. So it's like one of those situations where like it's illegal, but everybody has it kind of deal. But the reason tonka beans are illegal is because they come from one of the Caribbean nations that we embargoed back in the 60s, and then like the food industry made a flavoring of tonka bean, and they put it in some things, which means the actual tonka bean can't be imported in the US because it'll infringe on the tonka bean flavoring.
So what you're saying is the US regulatory system has it in place that the iron brew ingredients are too healthy to be allowed into the US because they have shit that has so many chemicals packed into it that does the same thing, that they would rather, like, that iron brew does not cause enough diabetes, so it's not allowed in the US. Like, that's what I'm getting for this conversation.
I'll have to double check, but yeah, essentially, probably, yeah. You're
No, that is too
right
healthy and suitable for people's consumptions. How dare they sell that here? People are only allowed to live till they're 45 and have diabetes and lose a foot.
But that highlights the oxymoron of the food industry, doesn't it? Like, you go to the grocery store, right? And we're kind of bullshitting about food and stuff, but that's an interesting point to talk about. Why, when I go to the grocery store, the processed bullshit costs $2, but the organic whole food costs $6? The fuck is wrong with you?
That is stunty subsidiaries. That is basically, see your produce stuff, see the fertilizers and the chemicals that it can pump into it. Mm-hmm. It makes it grow faster.
Yeah.
It means the production rate can be lower because they can pump out more, whereas the organic stuff, because it takes longer to grow and it takes more labor, effort.
Yeah. That's
what you're having to do that for, because it's the same. Like, that's why in a lot of cases meat is quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see, like an actual cut of meat, like if you were to go and get a steak or a fillet steak and it's like $22 for a steak, the reason why that is because it takes, you have to have your field for your cattle. So you have like your 3 acres of cattle field. In order to feed those cattle, you need to have 124 acres of vegetable patches that then feed the cows. But the food and the money that you get out of that one cow does not make up to the amount of land and food that is there. So that is why, like, it's one of the reasons why I had that kind of vegan dietary, is because I came to the realization that it literally takes up more environment and land, and that, like, they're literally having to kill off rainforests to make cattle grazing fields, because it takes, and not necessarily just for cattle, it's to field the food, to feed the cattle, that you get, so, like, the exchange rate is so small, like the amount of food you have to pump into a cow and the little food you get back means that the cow then costs more money because they have to recoup the losses of the amount of food that they pump in. Like, one vegan or somebody that just eats vegetables can live for a year on one field of like food, yet to feed a cow you need to have 74 fields.
Yeah, I guess my point wasn't necessarily the difference in the organic. My issue is, why is the prepackaged processed bullshit food more readily affordable than actual real food? That's the problem.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Right, I know,
because the chemicals that they can use and the ingredients that they can use to kind of like flavor some, like, you can turn around and go, right, well, to make this banana bread, like an actual banana bread with bananas and stuff like that, it will cost X amount of money. But we can buy this flavouring for...
Fucking hate that.
It makes up 74 million bananas for $2. But to buy 74 million bananas, it would cost so much more money. So the reason is because the production of that stuff, because it's shite, it's because it's chemicals and additives and that kind of stuff. That's the reason why, is because it's not real food.
Yeah.
It's because the production to create real food is so much higher. But the other reason is because government subsidise the costs of the produce stuff.
Right.
That's why it can cause, because they get the tax breaks, whereas companies that make real food don't get those tax breaks.
And
That
that's
means
the
that their
point I wanted to make.
overheads are so much higher.
Yeah.
So it is a whole. There's so many reasons as to why that is, and it's the exact same reason as the reason why companies look at it and go, well, we're still making a lot of money rearing this cattle, then killing it, slaughtering it, and selling it on, even though we're only getting a small portion of it. We're still because of supply and demand. People go out and see, oh, well, that's only $2 rather than the $6, and they pick up the $2 because that's how it is. See, if the government was to subsidise the organic stuff, and the other companies had to put up their prices to get their profits up to match where their profits are now, you would see the difference, and people would go and buy the organic stuff.
Yeah, and that like for me, I've got kids that all have dietary issues, and like I've got kids that have autism. So when I feed them the junk food, their issues are exacerbated. And what frustrates me as a dad and somebody who has health conditions of my own, I would love to see that dynamic flipped. I want the whole foods and the organic foods to be subsidized and the corporate pre-processed bullshit to be taxed and pushed harder, because I have a philosophy when I go to the store. I don't shop in the middle aisles at all. Like, not at all. Like, I get a few things, like I'll grab cereal and some mac and cheese and some pasta and, some tuna fish and sauces and whatnot. But 90% of my shopping is the outside aisle. Because I want the whole foods. I want the whole meats. I want the lean meats. I want the proteins. I want the veg. Yeah. And what drives me nuts is I just dropped $283 on groceries today. That'll last me 2 weeks.
Yeah. But the sad thing about it is the dynamic will never flip unless entire societies allow it to flip. Like 7 people turning around and saying, no, we want change, as they going to do it? Because everybody can scream for change, but unless you actively start making the change, that it's not going to happen. Like, there's so many things that are going on where people are like, oh, this is the change, this is the change, and you're like, but you're not actually making the change, you're just screaming for it.
Yeah. Armchair
so that's where advocates. The problem is like you can sit and cry and go, no, this Whole Foods has to be cheaper than that, but then they go and buy the cheap stuff because they've not got the money to buy the Whole Food stuff.
Yeah,
they want the Whole Food stuff. It's one of these stupid. You're caught between a rock and a hard place. Like, you want that stuff, but you just physically can't afford that. Other situations.
Bernadette and I make a lot of sacrifice to provide the higher quality food for our kids. Like, we do have to buy smaller amounts and pay more. So there are sometimes where Bernadette and I don't eat. It's rare, but we would rather have the higher quality food for the kids than buy like the fucking SpaghettiOs and shit, because food is one of those things where food is fuel. And you are what you eat. And if you eat shit food, you're going to have a shit body. Like, look at me. Like, I haven't worked out in a year. I'm rocking about 210 pounds. And I look decent. I'm not some fucking fat load. It's because I eat good food and just walking and going to work and doing stuff. Am I overweight? Yes, I'm overweight. I should be down around 170. But am I carrying excess fat? No, I'm still 25% body fat. So my diet maintains a healthy level even though I'm at a bigger weight, because I make the financial sacrifice to buy the higher food. But a family that can't make the sacrifice, and I'm not bagging on anybody's financial situation, don't assume that. I feel frustrated because all too often we're tasked with getting the bullshit because we can afford it, when the real shit that'll actually help us is out of reach. And I wish the dynamic was switched. And one of the things we're going to do when we move to the coast is the coast has a bigger abundance of farmers markets.
Right, yeah.
So we want to shift our shopping more towards the farmers markets than the grocery store, so that we can give back to the local farmers and whatnot, and learn to do a lot of that. Because growing up in Michigan, and I'm going to I know we're going a little long. We're coming up on, we got like 15 minutes to the 2 hour mark, but I really wanted to hit on this point in our conversation about food is I grew up hunting. I am an advocate of hunting for sustainability. And when we go out to Oregon, I would like to try and get back to fishing and hunting at least once a year, twice a year, going out there, maybe taking a deer, maybe getting an elk. And it's going to be a lot of work. And I'm older now, but I would really love to do that because one elk, if I can take it, will give me all the meat for 6 months that I need.
Yeah.
Instead of going and buying the beef and the pork and the chicken constantly, I can take an elk and I can get the liver, I can get the kidneys, I can get the heart, I can get the ribs, I can get all of that. For 6 months, I don't got to buy meat, therefore lessening my impact, you know, but still giving my family a higher quality. And like taking getting rabbits and stuff, that's all, you know, stuff like that, getting a deer. Like, I would love to do that. Is it going to be possible with my work schedule? I don't know, but I would definitely like to try because I want to shift our dietary to farmers markets and maybe hunting. But the point I wanted to make is you see a lot of people online now that are like hunters are bad. And I grew up in a family where hunting was life. And as long as you're hunting for subsistence hunting, I'm all for your support. Go out, hunt, do your thing. But like, if you're out there to take a rack from a deer and leave the deer, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think it's the trophy hunting that's causing the most thing. I mean, like, I've never done hunting. Like, I understand like why people do it in the sustain thing. So if like I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't necessarily like. I mean, I'm not going to hate people for it. Like, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I don't want to associate," because like everybody's entitled to do what the fuck they want. Mm-hmm. Like, the thing that always comes up is if you can cause the least amount of harm, then do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it. Like, that was one of the reasons why I kind of switched to vegan for a while there, was because it was a case of, well, like, yeah, like, you don't actually need, like people keep on saying, like, oh, you need meat for proteins. You don't. You can get protein out of everything. Protein is is amino acids that your body breaks down and makes it into proteins. You don't get proteins just from meat. You can get protein from bread. You can get it from peanuts. Like, that's how you get protein. Like, you get it in everything. It's just like, that's one of the reasons why is they argue that meat, or you get your protein from meat, is because that's the sole. That's the only thing that you get that the meat really has to fight its case. If
your sole focus is protein, why aren't you eating insects? Because pound for pound, insects have 2 to 3 times the amount of protein than meat. And it has a lower impact on the environment. So if your argument is I eat meat because protein, that's a bullshit argument, like you're saying.
Yeah,
you should
no, exactly.
Eat insects. If that's the case, then you should be eating insects. Because that's
you
a
can
bullshit
get protein
argument.
Shakes now.
Yeah,
like, go and get your protein for a protein shake. Like, there's it's one of those arguments where the only argument you have for hunting is that you enjoy hunting.
Yeah,
which is it's the only argument you have. So that if that's your argument, everybody has to just go, no, that's fair enough. That's your prerogative. You could do what you want in your life. Any other argument is bullshit, because it's like, well, no, that's like, you can get it. Like, there's so many things, like, there's political things that I'm not going to get into with that same sort of thing, is that your only argument to have that and use that is that you enjoy it.
And it's hunting for me.
The fairest argument. Like, if that's what you like, I wouldn't personally go out and start hunting myself, but I'm not going to shit on you for it. Like, it's your life. You do that. Like, I think what the problem is too many people, and the likes of like the vegan and meat eaters and stuff. Like, there's that constant battle, and it's not even a constant battle because the majority don't. It's a small minority of both sides that the media fucking overreact and give them a bigger light than they should, is the ones that, like, the vegans that are going into restaurants, horns and all that. That's such a small group of vegans. Most vegans just want you to, like, what I eat, why does it affect you? Like, how how good is your life that what I have in my plate affects you that bad? Who gives a fuck? And most of the arguments the other way is like I have had it where I've turned around and said, "Oh, I am vegan," and it's like, "Why are you vegan?" It's like, "Oh, that's none of your business." Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
vegan,
personal
because
choice.
I'm vegan, and the reason why there's certain people, like it's not all people, but the reason why a lot, like many of them that have this argument is because they then want to justify why they eat meat, and it's like I don't want to have this conversation. Like, it's like there's another streamer that put it that way, is that to her, it's like, what does it matter what I have in my plate? I'm enjoying it. You enjoy it. Like, she doesn't go and say to you, I mean, imagine eating steak. That's fucking horrible. Do you know how they got that steak? They fucking slit that cow's throat and let it bleed out and all that. Like, that's not how you do it. If you want to eat steak, eat. But don't shit on me for my dietary wants and things. Like, if I want to eat asparagus for my breakfast, I'll fucking eat asparagus. So if you have a problem with that, I'll stick the asparagus up your fucking ass. Like, that's how I'd see it. So just eat what you want, do what you want.
One of the reasons I like hunting, and you're right, that I do as a kid I enjoyed hunting for hunting. One of the reasons why I enjoy hunting or want to get back into hunting now is because I enjoy wild game more than regular food, and wild game is so expensive in the grocery store that it's more economically sound and financially sound for me to go out and hunt it and get a whole animal for like $50 for the hunting license than having to buy a side of elk for 104. So one of the reasons I want to get back into hunting, or like being like, I'll pay a hunter to, for part of his kill if I can't physically hunt, is because I want wild game more than I want chicken and beef and cattle, because not only is it more environmentally sound, it's also ethically better because the animal is taken cleanly. I know if I take the animal, I can take it cleanly. I can clean it, and I'm going to use that entire fucking animal. Where like a factory farm piece of steak is shoved in a bin, given steroids and fertilizer, and then left a horrible life. So I love wild game. It's my favorite. I love elk. I love deer. I love alligator. I love all that shit. And I can't get it in a grocery store without paying an exorbitant rate. So when I move out to the coast where we got big fucking forests and wild animals, I'm either gonna hook up with a hunter and be like, well, I'll pay you for your tag if you bag me an animal, because I might not be able to physically hunt. And not only does the hunter get something out of it, but I get what I want as a fair exchange. So,
which is fair enough, and like as I said, it's a solid argument that I would say it knowing it. So, like that's how I see it, is that people need to be more inclined of that, where they just go, well, if that's what you enjoy, then that's totally fine, because
Before I dried this off,
I don't care.
It was super slimy and it's super crumbly and won't peel any.
It's still good. Just do the best you can.
Crumbly.
Yeah, it's sharp cheddar. It's very dry.
Peel.
Do the best you can. If you need it to peel, take a really thin knife and slide it in between, and that might help. I know. But
another thing for that is, see if you take a kitchen towel and dampen it and put the cheese in it, it'll moisten it just enough to be able to slice without it crumbling.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get her to figure it out.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, I think we've talked a lot about food and food culture and the fact that food kind of centers around a lot of our life, but a lot of what I hear is, and to kind of put this final thought on it, is, to me, food is essential to a lot of my life, because that's where I get a lot of quality time with my kids, and that's where I get a lot of like time to kind of pass my knowledge down. So like when we're sitting at a dinner table around a meal, we talk about our day, we talk about hope streams and what we're looking forward to. And
Yeah.
a lot of that fun comes from joking about, what we did or how we made it. And you and some of the viewers of my Twitch stream, like, I do food battles with my daughter who's been in and out all day. She's kicked my ass 3-0. That fucking bitch. She's got my ass beat 3 times now, and it's because she spends time in the kitchen with me, laughing, joking, hanging out, asking questions. And I think if food is held in the right thing, food is a life enrichment, but sometimes food is a detriment because people emotionally eat or they connect feeling good to food. And I think from a cultural standpoint, at least in my house, we've always said that food is food. Enjoy it, have fun with it, but remember that, you can't rely on it to supplant things like your emotional state or like you can't like buy somebody's affection with a steak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's fair.
Short term, you can. They're like, ooh, a steak, but
yes, definitely. Short term food does many a thing.
But I think in all things, food. I think food needs to remain in perspective and how it affects your life, and let it be an enhancement and an enrichment to your life, and not an obsession or an addiction or a downfall to your life.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely I agree with that. Is that again, addiction and that is like a topic that has so many.
Yep.
Kind of like I don't know enough, and I wouldn't think me.
Yeah, neither do I.
Too much into that. But my main kind of takeaway of it is that no matter your situation, food, like again, like you said, it shouldn't be used as a suppressant or anything like that. But food should be a comfort, not a comfort to hide pain and sadness, but a comfort of it's where it feels home. It's an enjoyment. It should be a fun and happy experience. It shouldn't be a chore. I think that's the best way to kind of look at it, is that it shouldn't be a chore. It should be an enjoyable experience. Like when I'm cooking, I've got music on, I'm dancing, I'm just having a great fucking time. That's how I enjoy it. So I think the best way to say it is when you're cooking, do it how you enjoy it, and just have fun with it.
Play with it.
If you want, cook with your partner, have that sort of fun. Stick on music while you're cooking. Have a dance, joke, cook with your children. Show them how to cook. Show them the basics. Like set them up for that basic life where they'll know how to, like you said, even that survival instinct. Teach them that, because nobody can tell you what your financial situation is going to be. Shit can happen. You might win some, you lose some. That's how life is just like. So just enjoy all those little moments. Share with your kids and your family how to do the basic survival style of being able to make noodles, be able to make toast, be able to stick something in the oven. Just those little things that means that when they grow up, they're not thrown out in that big bad world, because the world is a scary fucking place.
Yeah, it is.
And it will beat you to the fucking ground. Like, so let's give people the best start that they can, and remembering that food is just an enjoyable, fun thing to love.
Yeah.
Like, you do it every day, so enjoy it.
Yeah. And
like, I have the same relationship with alcohol.
Right?
I love it.
It's a thing. So let's move on to the happy ending. We got about 45 minutes because we keep about 2.5 hours. Let's go with your story first, because I find this fucking hilarious, dude.
It's all about the coos.
It's all about the kiss. All right.
It's about the Highland coos and the fact that Visit Scotland, which is our like travel, like everybody come and see how amazing we are. I mean, it's already apparent like we are amazing, but now come and look at the website that shows just how fucking amazing we are. Like that's where we're at.
Dude,
so what it is?
These are some shaggy fucking cows, man.
Yeah, this is Scotland. Is when you see Scotland, you think Highland Coo, and when you see Highland Coo, you think fucking Scotland.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that cow on the cover is cute as shit. He's got the fur over to one eye, the lips are like, I mean, that's a good looking cow. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna date him, but he's a cute fucking cow. I'd feel bad about eating steak off of that cow.
Never say never. Never say never. Sometimes the coos can get a nice wee beer in you. They have a nice dance, show you a good time. Next thing you know, you're waking up, arm around it, wondering what changed.
Your little spoon in a cow? Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. That's it. Like the big, fluffy, and warm. Like,
so what's this
don't knock
article
it till
about?
you try it.
What's this article about?
Basically, Visit Scotland, cause Highland coos, or to normal people, a Highland cow.
Right.
Are like a mainstay of Scotland. Tourists flock to Scotland to come get photos with Highland cows.
I mean, I want to take photos with it.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened is during the COVID, obviously travel was limited. You couldn't come tourists and that. So Visit Scotland decided I think it was the beginning of March, that what they wanted to do is basically have a coo cam. So at the moment, every coos day, Visit Scotland are posting up photos of Highland coos from like different areas of Scotland, like Dumfries and Galloway. They've got a farm up in Aberdeen. They've got a conservation up towards like Inverness and the Highlands and stuff. So basically, they're showing these photos as a kind of, you can't come to the cows, so we're going to bring the cows to you.
Nice.
So it was basically just a nice little fun, come and look at the amazing cows. And the plan that there is they're going to get a live stream at 3 of these sort of farms, just showing the day-to-day life of the gracious Highland coo. And it's one of those stories where like that's really it. That's the long that like Highland Cows of Scotland are starring in their own coo cam show. That's the title of the story. That's it. It's just the fact they're going to start live streaming the farms, giving you the lifestyles of these coos as they go on through their day-to-day life. And it's just that feel good out of Scotland where it's come and see your coos. And see the pride.
Doesn't that amaze you that in the middle of a pandemic where tourism is taking the massivest of hits, somebody was like, do you know what? Let's make a live stream of the coos. And everybody went, Danny, that's brilliant. It is. Shut fucking all. And
that's pretty much, I mean, like when you actually read the actual, it literally says Australia has kangaroos, China has pandas, and Scotland is known for its cows. Shaggy, ginger, pink tongue, Highland cows to be exact. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole thing, is the fact that of all that has happened throughout this pandemic, somebody went, do you know what we are missing? Some cows. Do you know what Twitter needs? Cows.
Wrong. I mean, you got cat videos, dog videos, you got like pet videos, and now you got like these shaggy, fucking cute little cows just walking around the field like, what up?
Exactly. And like on the actual article, they've posted up the March 2nd, and it's just a coo sitting there eating its hay, lovely sunshine in the background, and it's like, look at that, he is having a great fucking time. Like, take a moment to chill and enjoy this beautiful scene this Tuesday, Kettlebridge, Fife.
You know, I'm
So
gonna follow that Twitter account now. I'm all about following that Twitter account. Like when I get off here, I'm gonna retweet your tweet and then I'm gonna follow Visit Scotland because I gotta have more cowbell.
see, what I will say is I'll put the link to the Visit Scotland Twitter feed and our website, because see, even just scrolling through it, like you got, like I've just clicked onto the Visit Scotland. The profile picture is a Highland coup for this whole thing. But it's not just like the Visit Scotland does have, like, they've got the photos of Dumbarton Castle. They've got photos of, like, there's just a photo from Scotland. And it's
Right.
fucking stunning. They've got the links in that to different places, Scottish outdoor access. Like, this is one thing that I'm not going to talk about it this episode. I'll maybe bring it up next episode or following episode.
Right.
And it's just the experiences of living in Scotland or being in Scotland and how amazing it is. And just looking at the Visit Scotland website and Twitter, it's enough of an explanation as to why you need to visit Scotland.
Yeah, I think after the next episode when we have Monster on, I want to talk about some of the adventures that I've had in the States. Not necessarily like the bar story ones, but like I've been to like Oklahoma, I've gone to Michigan, I've been to California and stuff, and I kind of want to talk about some of the like hijinks. Like there was I won't do the full story here, but a buddy of mine went to Oklahoma, and we went to a wildlife preserve, and there's some shit that went down in that wildlife preserve because, like you said, like we live in a world where there's amazing shit around us all the time, and like Visit Scotland's like, you know what, we got coups, let's fucking do it, and
Yeah.
so much is dedicated to the human grind that we forget that we've had amazing interactions with the non-human world, and I think talking about that would be, I think that would be a hella good time too. So yeah, I'm in. I want to hear about the adventures in Scotland because I've got a few non-alcohol fueled adventures in fucking America too. So I would love to talk about that. That would be great. And when we do get over there, like I said, we've said it in a couple podcasts where Bernadette and I are going to try and get over there probably in the next 5 years once all the kids are older and they can kind of handle themselves, where we can travel a little bit. I definitely want to get over there. And yeah, damn right, I'm gonna get me a picture with some goddamn coos.
Damn fucking tooting you. We'll go fucking all over the place. You can see all the coos. You can personally visit and meet every fucking coo there.
I'm in. Let's go. I'm going coo hunting with a camera.
That's it.
Dude, that's
Like,
great.
so,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, it's just one of these stories that I seen it. It was last week I seen it, and I went, I need to bring this up because this is Scotland in a nutshell. All this shit going on. Hey, look at this ginger bastard.
So what's more famous, the coos or Nessie?
I think it depends who you ask.
You think so?
Because you can get Highland coos everywhere. Like when I lived in the Netherlands, the area that I lived in literally had like just random fields with Highland coos in them. Because Scotland gave them as gifts to like some nations.
Yeah,
like they'd just be like, "Oh, we are friends."
Do they really? They really? They're like, "Here, have a coo."
Like you'll probably find that there is like places in the States that have Highland coos that have been a kind of break bread with the States and Scotland. This is why everybody, like, you'll never ever find, apart from the English, you'll never find somebody that will have a complaint against Scotland, because Scotland's just fucking amazing. Like everybody's just like, oh, we drank that one time, have a coo. That's just it. How can you be mad at that? How can you have any resentment towards that nation that go, oh, we're friends, here's a coo?
I mean, it's sound logic. You really can't be mad if they're like, "Here, have a cow." It's like, fuck, what am I gonna do now? And I'll admit it, some of the pictures on this article, there's some cute fucking ginger bastards over there. Like my dog would be like, "Can I go play with them?" She'd be like, "Can I go play with them?" I'd be like, "No."
Yeah.
But dude, it's amazing that just what the pandemic has made people do. Like, just, you know what? People need coos, and it like when you put it up there, I was reminded of that Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken, Like, I need more cowbell.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck
Yeah.
that. You need more coo. You need more coo in your life.
That's basically it. Visit Scotland's just went Saturday Night Live. We need more coup.
They did. They totally. They went SNL to the max, man. That's great. Because honestly, I'm gonna show my ignorance. I didn't know shit about the Highland coup until you brought this article up. I was like, the fuck?
There you go. We learn something every day.
I
Every
didn't-
day's a school day.
I did not know that you guys were famous for coups.
Mhm.
No. I knew
Yeah,
kilt. I knew kilts, bagpipes, haggis, and sheep shagging. That was
See, it's actually quite funny if you were to go through, like, you've got the, like, say, like what you said, then we've got, like, the Highland coos, we've got unicorns, like, the national animal of Scotland is the unicorn.
I didn't know that. You did tell me
It's
that.
on our passport and everything. So, like, there's so many random things that Scotland has that just, like, I could probably make a good few episodes of me just teaching you about Scotland and all the crazy fucking shit that we just randomly have because it's like, it's Scotland.
Well, here's a random thing. One of the cities in California, the mayor's a fucking dog.
Interesting. Was there no a town somewhere that it was like a horse as well?
Yes, there was a horse. There was
I'm pretty sure that reached Scotland and we all went, fair enough. Probably has a better political standpoint than most humans.
So yeah, there's some what the fuck shit over here. But yeah, man, dude, that article when you posted it, I looked at it before the show, and I like I am now, just fucking died laughing. Like, it's hilarious to me. Oh my god! And to that, we will transition into something that's, as we discussed earlier in the show, Dox is kind of like a tree hugger. There's a gentleman who has created a biodegradable solar panel that converts CO2 into oxygen and can be used in space. Oh.
Yeah, like you've just went everything that you do in a happy ending is rolled into one news story for you here.
Exactly. It's great. And here's the thing. These solar panels are made out of fucking algae. What? How do you... There's
something else.
I gotta get this kid's name right. He's a 23-year-old Mexican biotechnician and winner of MIT's 2019 Latin America Inventors Under 35. His name is Adan Ramirez Sanchez. Like, this dude made solar panels powered by algae instead of like precious minerals like silicates and whatnot mined from the earth. So we were talking about sustainability with the farming. This kid was like, hold my beer, hold my Tecate. I got you. And he took algae and was like, the algae uses photosynthesis for energy.
Yeah.
Can I somehow take the power of photosynthesis, turn it into power, and make the byproduct be oxygen? Mind blown, right there.
I mean, I don't know why I didn't think it sooner. We all knew that.
Right? Just, yeah, like we knew that photosynthesis made energy.
Catch up, Adam.
Like, dude, that right there is a game changer, dude. Because right now, solar panels are made from really like difficult to manufacture, limited quantity materials like silicates and diamond and all that shit. Like, goes into making solar panels. Algae you can grow in your bathtub. You don't want to, but you can.
It is like I mean I didn't really read the story because I like personally I like just getting your like the passion that comes from you kind of explaining it, but I kind of like had a wee glance through it and it's just like the science and the mentality and just everything that went into it it really is just a breathtaking. It's a breathtaking idea,
Yeah.
and like just what it means for the environment, and just not just even the environment, but like you said, it can be used in space. That like space travel. The fact that I think it said that it was another biotech that's been developed by NASA and ESA is basically a similar thing that they're wanting to use. So they're wanting to use it to fertilize space crops.
Yeah, the biomass used from the solar panels can be used to fertilize crops. Yep.
So like, there's like so much of this one invention that's just like, it's just kind of when, do you remember these 17 problems that we had at 19 different things?
Fixed it.
Solved.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I got you. Hold my
Like, it's hilarious, like thinking about like that, but at the same time, you're like, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing story.
They break down the art. They break down the biopanels. It says his intelligent solar biopanels made at his firm Green Fluidic stuff. If I'm gonna do a little inside baseball. If this boy goes public, Dox is dropping some greens on that stock. Dox is gonna put a little greenbacks on that stock.
Algae.
Right. They're 1 part microalgae, 1 part nanotechnology. They absorb CO2 before converting it into electricity and oxygen. I mean, talk about like 9,000 level brain.
Yeah.
This kid, like, when you think, and to be completely, like, when you think of Mexico, right? All the you get a lot of negative stereotypes, gangs and cartels and like, but then you look at it in the rich culture of Mexico and the fact that an idea was like this was allowed to flourish and be supported.
Yeah.
And kudos to that kid and his science teachers and everybody who was like, you know, kid, you're onto something. And like for MIT to reach out and kind of award this kid, like you said, this thing, it can be used in space to solve like problems that like how do we like fertilize crops, and how do we like produce oxygen in a no oxygen atmosphere. Like, dude, you could run those panels to power the ship and cycle the CO2 scrubbers. You wouldn't need CO2 scrubbers on ships because you would literally just breathe. These panels would absorb the CO2, generate electricity, and refresh the oxygen. Like, it blew my mind when I found this art. I was like, are you fucking, like, that is some epic level galaxy brain shit there. Like, oh my God. And the fact that this kid turned it into his own company, he was like, bring it. I was like, God damn, he's 23, dude. I am like so impressed. And last week when we talked about space, we were talking about, we wanted society to flourish and be where innovation can be held up and pushed forward. And this kid comes out with a revolutionary, potentially, let's call it what it is, potentially game-changing thing, because the problem with modern solar panels is they're not efficient, right? They get up to about 75%, 80% conversion rate.
Yeah.
This shit not only does that, but it also produces oxygen. Like, and cleans bullshit out of the environment. Come on, man. That's insane. It says the invention just gets better and better. However, the panels are today biodegradable since they are made from algae and abundant marine materials. They produce biomass while running, which can be collected and used as fertilizer, not only for space crops, but for our shit. Yeah. Like, your byproduct is oxygen and fertilizer.
Exactly. Like, that's the bit that's just completely like there's no downside to it.
That's really not. Like, How did we not have this before? Like geniuses before didn't like what the thought process of this kid, and this is the thought experiment for me is like, was he just chilling by the pond and being like, photosynthesis is a bitch? Like, how can we harness that? Like electricity is expensive, and carbon dioxide is a real killer. Let me see what I can do.
It's just the good old water cooler talk. That's what this is.
I am beyond impressed that this is even a possibility. Like, Are you shitting me?
It's just, I'm going to have to look a lot more into it.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm like into it, like all 100%. Bro, if you go public, Dox wants to drop some bennies on it. I'll drop a 50 spot. Give me some of that stock, boy. It's great.
Definitely.
But I mean, come on, like, but this article also highlights like the need, and it doesn't say specifically that he's inspired by like sci-fi or science fiction, but he had to have been inspired by like Star Trek or Star Wars or some sort of future tech show or future tech book where he went, because there's instances now in the real world where like tricorders and cell phones, right? I'll bring up the cell phones again. Cell phones were inspired by Star Trek communicators. It's a fact. Like, the woman who made Wi-Fi and cellular was like, okay, I need to bounce signals around. And then when somebody took that tech and went, you know what? I want a Star Trek communicator. And it says the inventor of the cell phone was like, I was totally inspired by Star Trek. I wonder what this kid's inspiration was. I would love to talk to this kid and just be like, how the fuck do you come up with algae solar panels, bro? Like, what was your inspiration? And dude, you're amazing. You're my guy. Like, I'll ride with you all day.
But, well, I mean, he's over 21, so eventually get him on the show.
That's right. Eventually. Put his name in the ledger of, like, wish list guests. Be like, Aiden Sanchez, bro. Yeah. You got to tell me how you made it. But yeah, like we talked about last week, if we just let invention flourish, what could happen? Boom. This article. Dude, I'm like geeked, man. I cannot believe that something like this is. I couldn't even fathom it, and I think that's why it blows my mind even more. Is like, dude, you took algae and you made a CO2 scrubber and a power source. Like, it's unreal.
Insane. It's just unreal. Insane. Like, I'm going to have to shut it down because I keep on just trying to read it, and I need to read it off stream because I don't want to be sitting just constantly.
I know.
Look at this beauty.
And right, the picture of the fucking solar panels, they look like fucking TIE fighter wings. Like, I seen it and I was like, is that a fucking TIE? Honestly, that's what caught my interest too. I saw the picture and I was like, is that a fucking TIE fighter? And then I read the article and I was like, oh shit, dude, it's so good. Oh my god,
it's
phenomenal.
I'm genuinely just like, I'm going to have to look a lot more into that just to get the info.
It's ridiculous. It's amazing what people can do when given the opportunity to let their imagination run wild. And because he went to somebody and they were like, I'm going to make algae solar panels. And they went, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He went to like 10 people and they were like, fuck off. And that one guy went, you're onto something. Do that. So, dude, it's amazing. And that I'm going to say it's amazing for the next 10 minutes. So we're going to end it here because I want to read more. I actually want to like read this kid's interview. Like, because he did, like, there's like, I want to see if this kid's got an interview because I want to read it off stream while I'm editing or whatever to know more because I want to know more because it's amazing. But anyway, Chris, another great show, bro. Where can the people find you? Where can they reach out to you and do the thing? What's up?
You can get me on Twitter, get me in the YouTube comments.
Who's? The YouTube coos?
The YouTubers comment. Twitter at ChrisC90, YouTube ChrisC90. That's the best places to get you or get me. Monitor you can get me there. I'm on the other kind of. I'm using Twitter. God,
Wow,
everybody, this alcohol has hit me hard. You can twit me on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter. I'm trying to get into Twitter a lot more and get a lot more active in that.
Yep.
So get me there. Share your stories. Share your opinions. Let's debate.
Yeah, tonight I'm gonna make a section for the drunk tank in the Discord too, so people can share their thoughts on the podcast. So that's what I'm gonna do that tonight. I said I was gonna do it last week and then I got busy, but I'm gonna do it tonight. But yeah, man, dude, your YouTube, man, is looking good. I like what you're doing with the editing on the show too for the videos. How you're adding like the stinger in and the title card. I like it.
Yeah.
Nope. But
it's a little more professional.
I know, right?
And then get into the bullshit that we talk. at least make them think it's a professional production, dude, and then we start talking.
Yeah, we are so not professional. But dude, great show. I am Dox Ryan. You can find me on Twitch at Dox Ryan. You can find me at Twitter at Dox Ryan. On my YouTube, you can search YouTube/Dox Ryan because branding is a thing. Best place to reach out to me with any sort of information is definitely on Twitter or in the YouTube comments. I will be, now that I can export the VOD, I will be exporting this and uploading it to YouTube because my computer can handle it. So you can definitely go to Chris's, check the views there, and then if you want to see a less professional version of editing, you just want to see all the bullshit, I'm just going to flat export it because I'm lazy to my YouTube. But yeah, I'm going to do that more. I'm also going to get more active posting vlogs on Twitter. And then Chris last week talked about maybe doing some like highlights of streams. I'm going to try and make time to do that. But best place to get at me, especially for the drunk tank, is at Twitter because I am fairly active on Twitter, more so than Chris is, but he's getting there. He's getting there.
Yeah, I'm still just at the process of just sharing photos of Scotland. That's what my Twitter's pretty much filled with now.
I'll shoot a video out talking about how I'm gonna fucking blast delivery drivers upside the head with a water bottle on Twitter. So.
Do that all you want, but we get the views.
I know, right? So, guys, thank you very much. Next week, very important. Next week, we will be back live streaming the podcast, and we will have our first guest. Our first guest is UKZ Monster. He is a streamer over in Manchester. Good dude. He should have a lot of interesting shit to say. He's got an interesting life story. So I think from last time I talked to him, he's going to hang out for the whole show and kind of drop his opinions on stuff. So you'll get to hear a third sexy accent because, there's mine. Then there's Chris's over there. And then you'll hear Monster, who, let's be fair, his accent isn't as sexy as mine and Chris's, but you decide. Yeah. All right, Chris.
There has to be a balance.
Yeah, there has to be balance in the force. All right, buddy. Say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. And thank you for all the growth you've been giving the podcast and the love you've been showing. We really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. And we out.